This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Swung on, drive to left field. Did he do it? He did! 4 home runs for Nick Kurtz! He is 6 for 6!
Swing and a drive, deep to left. The A's take the lead in grand fashion.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Stretch of the pitch to Cal. Swing and a drive, deep to right field. There it is, number 60, the modern-day Bambino.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe from humidors to walk-off dingers.
That's swung at a high, deep drive to right. Smith is back. He will not even watch it. And the A's win it on a walk-off by Nick Kurtz.
We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
All righty, we are back for round 2 here, day 3 of the winter meetings, 2025, Orlando, Florida. We have a packed show, but Torey Lovullo is going to start us out here.
Hi.
How are you doing? The manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, one of our all-time favorites, former A.
Yeah.
We talked to you towards the end of the season. It's been a little bit. How you been?
Really good. First of all, I really appreciate this time with you. I appreciate you guys giving me a few extra minutes to sit down and chit-chat with you and talk shop. So it's good to be here. Yeah, we sat down. I think we came in to play up in Sacramento.
That's right.
And you had your little space up there over
we got our new setup. Our get Steve Sachs, my partner up there.
Oh, my God.
The
Saxy's
two-time World Series champion.
Absolute best. I got to tell you something about Saxy. He was playing for the Dodgers. I was at UCLA at the time. I played second base. I played kind of the same game. You know, I thought kind of a hustler, grinder type of guy. I'm like, that's my guy. Fell in love with Steve Sachs as a player, watching him. Then I got drafted, traded over to the Yankees, and played with him. I mean, life couldn't have got any better. I got to play with my hero, and he didn't let me down. He was one of the best.
I mean, a lot of people forget, but according to my fact checking, when you were leaving the Bruins, you were like the leader in like everything when you left that program.
Yeah, good job. That's pretty good.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Usually I'll sit down and talk to somebody. They get prepared with what they want to say. I threw the Bruins on you, and then you went to your Rolodex of information and pulled it together. Yeah, I had a really good college career, and I was really proud of what we were able to do there as a university. And when I left, things were going in a really good direction. A guy by the name of Troy Gloss.
A couple guys showed up.
Yeah, a couple other guys behind me showed up, and they lowered the boom on some of those numbers. But I had a great 4-year time there, 4 years there.
So you were knee deep in it last time we talked, and that's why I'm glad we're talking now, because you've had time to reflect.
Yeah.
I think the job you guys did after the trading deadline, where you really stayed in it.
Yeah.
You guys were in it to the fight. I think, the love, trust, commitment, effort. I mean, I think it just shows the dynamics in your clubhouse. You still got some really good players, but it just shows the leadership. You guys still fought to the end. I was so impressed.
Yeah, that was a trade deadline, and I won't forget because I had some really good, deep, meaningful discussions. One of them was Zach Gallen. He was still there on the team, and it was clear that we were sellers at the trade deadline. And I also remember Mike Hazen coming into that little clubhouse there in Sacramento and talking to the team and said some really profound things that were inspiring to the players. And they've referenced it as being a really good message. And that was when we turned it around a little bit. I think we were 9 or 10 games under 500. We got to 1 or 2 games over 500. We're back in the race with some young, talented players, some really young upstart names that are going to get an opportunity to show us what they can do this year. But we turned it around. We were in the race until the final weekend of the year, and that's all you can ask for.
Well, and I think about, whether you're talking about like Fott and Rodriguez are coming back. I mean, Burns will be back at some point.
Right.
When do you think he'll be back?
Right around the All-Star break, and we got to be careful with him. And because I know what Corb's about. He wants to get out there, and he wants to go. He's like, I'll be back sooner. I'm like, let's be smart. If we got to wait an extra 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get you for the next 4 or 5 years and be really healthy and dominant, one of the best pitchers in baseball, we're going to do that. But I know that he's very eager, but he's right on. I have, I've texted with most of the players. I haven't texted him in probably, 3 or 4 weeks. I probably need to. So it's a good reminder.
That on your check, just a reminder.
I appreciate that. Yeah. But when I last spoke with him, he was feeling great. Everything's good. And he's going to be a name that's going to jump into the middle of that pond with us when it's time.
Marte, obviously, there's a lot of talk around here. You're getting calls doesn't mean you're shopping him.
Right. That's exactly the best way to put it. I don't think we're aggressively saying, hey, Ketel Marte's on the market.
Yeah.
I just think good teams are aware that a great player is in Arizona, and they want to see if there's any interest. And I think that happens all the time. And it's not uncommon that you have teams check in to see if they can add somebody on that level. And I know we're not shopping him. I hopefully we're not. He's one of the best players in the National League, and he can really turn the game around.
Well, we talked about this earlier. Mark Kotze was here, talking about him and David Forrest and that tight relationship. I don't think that tight relationship is everywhere between front office and manager, but you and Mike Hazen,
yeah,
you guys are tight. So, I mean,
yeah.
I know you guys are bouncing everything off of each other.
Yeah, we do. We have conversations, and he's keeping me in the loop. And sometimes he's so busy that his assistant Amiel Sade will call me, but they do such a good job of looping me in. And we're going to try to make our team better. That's the most important thing. How are we going to go out there and win more than 80 games? I think we got to figure out how to win something in the 90 range. We were challenged this year. We didn't have a good bullpen. We had an outfielder and a shortstop playing first base in the last month of the season. So we got to create depth. We got to add some starting pitching. We got to create a bullpen. And I think those are the discussions that I talked to Mike about, and we have. But yeah, you're right. I think every successful franchise, the manager and general manager are simpatico. They got to work together. And Kotz had an unbelievable year considering what they went through with the stadium change and the young players coming up. I'm not surprised. So I think they have a very healthy thing going on there, and it's very similar in Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, Carroll rebounded, had a really good year. Perdomo's a monster at short. I mean, you have talent, and you have some pitching. But the thing with you that's always been so impressive is that, we were just laughing about, we started talking with you in 2019 in San Diego at the winter meetings. It's always, you're so much about culture, you're about relationships, you're about communication. And with like Marte, I mean, right now, obviously, if you're, if he's back in the Dominican right now, he's saying, well, why is my name everywhere, right? Yeah. I know he's a 10-5 guy in May, so there's a lot of things going on, but the communication, because you had some tough conversations at the trading deadline, but everybody, whether they're with you or when they leave you, they talk about how the communication is so great. Talk about why that is so important when you're a leader of men.
Well, I think relationships are what kind of sets up a culture. It's how you bring people together and put them in one space at one time. And I don't want everybody to play the same instrument. I want everybody to play their individual instrument and create one great song. That's what my mindset is. And I just go in a very authentic way to get to know you. I want you to know that I'm with you. I'm in the trench with you. We have a partnership. I'm going to make some decisions on your career. I'm going to make some on your playing time. I could impact your career. So why not allow yourself to get to know me and me get to know you, so we can kind of work together to make the best decision for you moving forward. And that it's both ways. I'm communicating by telling them what's on my mind, and I'm an active listener in return to allow them to tell me what's on their mind. And I share with them. I'll eventually tell them I like to play the piano in my spare time. Nobody knows that. And
now we do.
I know, right? I know.
Put that in the old Rolodex.
Yeah. So that creates a little bit of a relationship and trust. And when there's trust, there's buy-in. And when they know you care, and when you're in the trench with them, they'll go out and do special things.
Mark Kotze, and we'll end on this, Mark, because I know you got to go. Mark Kotze talked about, because first round pick, and he comes up early with the 90-17, then ends up winning the World Series. And he was a really good player for 17 years, but then he got released and he got traded. So he went through all of his experiences he believes helps him with the players. You told the funny story about, I think it was against the Blue Jays on your birthday. You had a great day, and then Art Howe had to call you in. Yeah. Right. It's like, hey, I hate to tell you this, but right. It's like, how much do you call upon, like, your experiences with the A's and the other teams? Yeah. That you look back on how you were handled, whether you liked it or not, but you learned from it, and that's how you handle the players.
Yeah, that was a good story. And it was literally on my birthday. Scott Brocious and Mike Bordick were going to take me out for my birthday.
It's your birthday.
On my birthday.
It's your day.
Yeah.
And you had a good day at the yard, too.
I did. It was awesome. But I do something to this day that Art Howe did in that very setting, in that clubhouse. He took off his hat. He came in front of his desk. He sat down next to me, and we had a discussion. It wasn't like he was behind the desk, slammed the table, and said, we got to get you out of here. Goodbye. I'll never see you again. I felt like there was a human being that was talking to me. And that was really powerful. So I draw upon those experiences all the time. I learned from Buck Showalter to never be in your shorts and a T-shirt when you're sending a player out. Like, get in your uniform, be professional, get in front of them like Art, take your hat off, and empathize with them. And I swear to God, I felt like Art Howe was welling up and his eyes were watering. And I left there and I thought that was a really unbelievable moment that I had with a manager that really cares about me.
Yeah, empathy is something we don't see a lot in our game.
No, I agree. And look, we're human beings, man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to feel the way I feel. You're going to feel the way you feel. But at the end of the day, man, we will be in a better place if we can just say, I understand, or I am trying to understand what that player is going through. That's what's happening. That's the model of today's player. Today's player has been raised a little bit differently. When Sparky Anderson told me to do 10 push-ups, I did 10 push-ups and didn't say why. I just did it. Today's player will say like, hey, man, I just did 150 push-ups at home. Why do I need to do 10 more? If you tell me why, I'll do them, but it might be a little crazy.
I'll tell you what, you've weathered multiple storms,
Yeah.
right? You've gotten your team to the World Series, the whole valley. You've become a big part of that valley, you and your family. You've rallied around that valley, and they've rallied around you. It's been fun to watch, and
appreciate that.
I see you coming out of this one again. You still got some good players. You guys are still looking here to add. It's a tough division, but we're always rooting for you.
I appreciate that. I love you guys, and I appreciate my time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
good
always.
luck the rest of the meetings.
Likewise. Thank you.
Love, trust, commitment, and effort. I got it written on my do I not? I got it written on my desk.
Torey, thank you.
Okay, guys. We'll never forget it. Torey Lovullo, manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Always great to have him here at the winter meetings. Second half, we got Don Kelly, the new manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, going to stop by.
Correct.
Is he next?
Yeah. And they just told me that he has about 5 minutes, so we can squeeze in a few questions. And we just saw him. He was managing the team when we saw them in Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah. I mean, they got arms. They got arms. They're also so looking for the draft. The draft is that at 5:30 today?
5:30, yeah.
So 5:30 today. So I wrote it down. The Chicago White Sox have the best odds at 27.73. They don't round up like you do. It's 27.73%. The Twins are at 22.18%. Pittsburgh at 16.81%. Baltimore 9.24%. Why am I reading all this? Because fifth is the Athletics at 6.55%. So the Athletics have the fifth best chance at the number one overall pick, which I'm going to tell you. Where are we?
Middle count.
We're here. You know what I'm going to tell you? We didn't get the number one pick, and we got Jacob Wilson. We didn't get the number one pick, and we got Nick Kurtz. If you redrafted that draft, do you think Nick Kurtz goes number one now?
I think so.
Yes.
He turned out to be a nice little player.
Kind of reminds me of the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. If Steph Curry what did Steph go, sixth?
Seventh, I think.
Sixth, seventh out of Davidson?
Because he went after Johnny Flynn, the kid from Syracuse.
So you think if they redid that draft, Steph Curry would have been the first pick in that draft?
Yeah, I think Blake Griffin went number one, so I think Steph does go number one.
All right, and then Klay was in the...
That's still not working. Don't worry with the iPad. It's not working.
It's not working?
No.
What was Klay?
Klay was 11, I think.
Yeah, you don't think Klay... I'm not saying Klay would have gone... I don't remember the draft and who was number one. I don't think Klay would still go number one, but he would have been top three.
Yeah,
with his career,
I would say
great shooters.
I would say if he didn't have all the injuries towards the back end
he
of
might
his
go
Warriors
one.
career,
I don't know who went one in that draft. That was years ago.
Well, we have time.
My NBA knowledge.
I think it was
It's
2011.
been a long time. 2011.
I think it was 2011. Let me just make sure. 2011 NBA draft. He went 11th. The number one overall pick was Kyrie Irving.
Pretty good player.
Pretty good player. He could have won two. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. He would have been top three. Who's better than him? But Kyrie.
Kawhi Leonard. I'd go Kyrie, Kawhi, and him. It's a pretty good top three.
Kawhi Leonard can't play.
Neither can Klay.
Yeah, but Klay did play and won championships. He won 4 championships.
Hey,
He's one of the greatest shooters of all time.
Kawhi
Kawhi Leonard was a guy that had trouble being on the floor all the time.
Well, they started load management mainly for Tim Duncan, but then he used it more for Kawhi.
Well, he burned it all up at San Diego State. Are you trying to tell me you take Kawhi Leonard's career over Klay Thompson?
I wouldn't say career. I'm just saying I think people probably take Kawhi Leonard.
I'm not asking about people.
I take Klay Thompson.
That's a cheap way out of the making a tough decision. Well, other people, I'm not asking.
Fellow hoop heads like myself.
I'm asking you as a longtime hooper. Are you taking Klay Thompson's career or Kawhi Leonard?
Take Klay's.
Thank you.
Not Klay's a Mav, but Klay's a Warrior.
Would you take Klay or Kyrie Irving's career? career.
Oh, career? Well, if you're talking about championships, Clay.
I mean,
Kyrie won the one with the.
Yeah, but Clay, let's not forget, is one of the greatest shooters of all time.
Yeah.
And a top defender.
That's true. I always loved he was a good two-way player.
He could defend almost anybody on the court. He was like a smaller version of Scottie Pippen.
He would cover the team's best player because Steph didn't cover anyone.
You don't need Steph to do that. Steph's got other business to handle. As you could actually make a case for Klay Thompson to be number one in that draft.
Yeah, I think
so. It gets back to the point of the A's. Just because you don't get number one, don't freak out. Too many times, old number one overall doesn't do anything for you. Or he may not. But in baseball, I mean, God, number one overall could be a high school kid and never even makes it.
We've seen that before already.
We've seen that plenty of times. That's what I'm saying.
Brian Taylor.
I mean, it was a blessing, an absolute blessing to see Nick Kurtz drop to number 4. And as the A's said it, we would take him no matter what. And they've been 100% proven right.
Yeah, they've been saying that before. Like he was a guy, no matter what pick they had, we were going to take him. I mean, Kubota from David Force, everyone said that.
So you heard it here. The biggest name going right now that everybody's talking about, and it wasn't the free agents. I'm telling you, the sticker shock on free agents is at least for now has dramatically changed things. That's why everybody wants to do trades. That's why everybody's calling Arizona for Ketel Marte, who's got $103 million left. The average annual value is actually very favorable. He's got 5 years with an option at a 6th. He's a 10-5 guy in May. And there's a lot of teams saying, I'd rather pick up that that $103 million than go out and pay whatever you're looking at in the free agent market, because the free agent market is out of control. We've had multiple people admit, is Kyle Tucker, that, Brian Kinney from MLB Now will be here, MLB Network, love BK. He and Dan O'Dowd, the former GM, they've coined this aircraft carrier type player. An aircraft carrier type player would be Nick Kurtz. An aircraft carrier is Aaron Judge. It is Shohei Ohtani. Some guy, some teams have, like the Dodgers have multiple ones, but it's the dude. I always call it, hey, this guy's a dude. This guy is somebody you completely build around. Is Kyle Tucker that guy? I don't think anybody would say that, but yet he wants $400 million.
I like Tucker as a player, but I don't think he's getting $400 million.
Is he worth 3?
Probably not.
That's what I'm saying. Would you rather have Ketel Marte? I know we're talking about it's a completely different deal between outfield and second base, but would you rather, we're just talking offensively, would you rather have Marte at $103 million or Kyle Tucker, whatever he ends up getting?
Marte.
That's
likely,
why everybody's calling, because of the sticker shock. So that's what we have going on. So we have had some moves done today. Kyle Schwarber is back with the Philadelphia Phillies, 5-150. No shocker there. But something to talk about with Don Kelly of the Pirates. The Pirates offer was 4 years for $120. That's the same average annual value, $30 million a year. The Pirates offered 4 years, $30 million a year to Kyle Schwarber. You know what? That's awesome. Because before, I heard Jim Bowden was like, that's a disgrace what they offer. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's real money. Some of these guys and ex-GMs, I mean, they're crazy with some of the stuff they say, is that they offered the same amount. The Pirates, he's going to stay with Philly. He's comfortable there. Earlier today, we talked with Mark Hotze about that, the benefit of what it's home, loves the Phillies. It's a great fit. But yet, essentially, the Pirates offered Kyle Schwarber the exact same contract, just 1 year less. That says something for the Pirates. They meant it. Like, people thought it was going to be some crazy contract that Kyle Schwarber was going to sign. He's a DH. He's a tremendous offensive player, hits bombs, controls the strike zone now better than ever. That should age well. People thought he was going to get $200-something million. He got $150. And essentially the same offer came from the Pittsburgh Pirates. They were in the Pirates are embarrassing themselves for offering that. That's a joke. They offered basically the same thing, just 1 year less.
The last multi-year free agent deal the Pirates gave out was 9 years ago to Ivan Nova. And most people are going to go, who? Exactly.
Well, it shows that there's teams, it's like when the A's put the money out for Severino, then put the money out for Rooker, and put the money out for Butler, and now we have a bunch of contract offers out to our players, some extensions to our players right now. It's always interesting to call it extensions because they're basically on these, they've just got called up, but that's what they are. Be contract extensions to our young players. We'll talk to David Force about that. Well, I talked to David about it in Las Vegas. Mark Kotze talked a little bit about it, but we'll really get into it tomorrow with David Force. I mean, you have all these teams. What is actually a really good sign in baseball is that a lot of the rebuilds are over and people are looking to spend. And the Pirates are, Cincinnati made it into the playoffs. They were offering Schwarber. They were in it. So there's a lot of teams right now who are looking to win, to get better and win. There's not a whole lot of, hey, we're going to dump everything and it's salary. We're just dumping salaries. And there's some teams like we had Kevin Acey on from the San Diego Union Tribune earlier going, the Padres overspent their means, and now they've got to drop payroll. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're a team that looks like they're going to be selling. But this is a fun part of this game is like we have teams that the last few years weren't looking to add. They're all trying to add. And that's why we've had so many trades. We've had a lot of trades where it's major leaguers for major leaguers,
which you don't see a lot. It's usually but guys don't want to give up prospects now. So I'm not surprised by that whatsoever. That's why with Marte, you're going to have to take on the money and you're going to have to go top prospects to get him. A lot of teams most likely don't want to do that.
Here is a head scratcher. Edwin Diaz has signed with the Dodgers 3 years, $69 million. He signs with the Dodgers for $3 more million than what the Mets offered. He is leaving New York for LA for an extra $3 million. I do not. This is just kind of fresh off the hopper. So I would need to know more. Like if it's so tough these days because so much money's being deferred. Because obviously in taxes, California is more than New York, even though New York's really high. I think for his tax bracket will be around California. I want to say it's I'm not a tax guy, but it's like 13.3% for what these big time money people pay in taxes. When people say, rich people don't pay their taxes, they do in California, 13.3% or maybe even more, but I believe it's 13.3.
That's what it was before. I don't know if it's gone up.
I don't know. Yeah. I could have my tax guy, but New York's like 10 or 11. So I got to think that the deals are very, very similar. Maybe Diaz is just saying, man, I got a better chance to win a World Series with the Dodgers. And New York's a zoo.
And the Dodgers have been wanting to revamp their bullpen. That's been the talk ever since the World Series.
They spent more money on their bullpen. They spent the most money on their bullpen last year, and their bullpen failed. They still win the World Series, but now adding Diaz, that's a big deal. I would say that's a big get.
What was it last year? It was Kirby Yates, Tanner Scott. They thought they brought in another guy too.
Oh, they brought back our guy Trinan.
Because Trinan had the great postseason.
Yeah, they brought him back. I mean, they spent the most money on their bullpen, but now they get Edwin. So Edwin Diaz for $3 more million has left the New York Mets to go to the LA Dodgers. So we'll see how that is going to open up the market. The Bell, so big talk today. Pete Alonso is coming here to Tampa. He should be here by now. He was supposed to meet today with Baltimore and Boston. Now Schwarber does not go to Boston. I wonder how much that opens up for the Red Sox to go after Pete Alonso. I've heard people talk about, Pete Alonso coming up here has got to shop his wares, but yet he wants to meet with them and he wants to get his finger on the pulse. This whole interview process is the most overrated. And when I hear baseball, Mike Petriello from MLB.com was trying to sell us, hey, he's got a great personality. He wants to come over and he wants to interview. Everybody, let's all gather around here and the honesty tree here. Everybody's going to be lying to you. Right?
Don Kelly's coming, by the way.
it's like when these recruits in college football go, oh, the coach promised this and the coach promised that. It's all about the money. That's really what you succeed. It's about that. I want to get more into this. Don Kelly is going to join us here, manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Very interesting scenario. And Cody obviously is doing his I'm from Pittsburgh too, and I'm a big Pirates fan scenario with Don Kelly. But I do want to get back into this whole thing about the player. He needs to interview the team. You think the team's going to be truly honest with him? I don't buy it. Don Kelly with us here, the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. I've been very interested to talk to you because, as you remember, one of the last series was against us, and we got to see a bunch of your arms. But just how cool is it? You grew up outside of Pittsburgh, and you're the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, I get chills thinking about it. It's humbling to grow up a Pirates fan, idolizing the early 90s teams with, Leland at the helm and Bonds and Van Slyke and all the guys. And it's crazy.
You're just a kid.
I am.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's super cool for you to play for the Pirates, being a hometown kid. But did you ever think managing the Pirates?
No, it was a dream come true to play in the big leagues, especially for the Pirates, and then to, now be manager of the Pirates. And it's really, really exciting for me.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got to see it. And when I do the TV pregame show, I do it with Shooty Babbitt. He's a longtime scout. He goes, wait, because everybody talks Skeens. We all know. He's like, wait till you see these other guys. And when you start seeing Chandler, we saw Chandler, Burrows, Ashcraft, I think, came in after Chandler. And we're sitting watching these games going, my God, these guys you have a bunch of guys who all have elite stuff.
And I remember that game. Chandler went 4, Ashcraft went 4.
It wasn't fair.
Yeah, they Ashcraft that day and Chandler, they were throwing BBs with the off-speed stuff. Yeah. And then, having Paul and Mitch at the top with those guys and, having Jared Jones coming back off of Tommy John too.
You have so much pitching.
It's really exciting.
In a game where everybody is struggling to find pitching, you have a lot of pitching that has to be comfortable. Now it's about finding the offense. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the guy that you just got from the Red. Garcia is his last name.
Yeah, we'll say password.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. But you got a top hitter here. I believe he'll probably be your left fielder.
Yeah, he can play out there. He's going to be competing for a spot, and I think he'll make impact in 26 at some point.
Yeah, and you got Reynolds and obviously O'Neill in center field. You got to. Is Henry Davis going to finally get that shot, you think, at catcher? I know he's been one of the top prospects. A lot of people have said he's had some struggles, but he's never really had that long run for a shot.
Yeah, and you know what? When you look at Henry and coming out, from the draft, he was hitter over catcher.
Yeah.
And the work that he put in defensively to make himself as great of a defensive catcher. I mean, you talk about a guy that's prepared every single day. Pitchers trust him, and he put in a lot of work to get good defensively. And now to be able to, he's comfortable there. He still works at it, but to now put that work into the offensive side where catching's tough, man. When you're going back there every single day, all the information that you got to know and decipher and then to hit too. But I'm really excited about him and the work he's putting in this offseason.
Well, we've been pumping you guys up because there was like disrespect when people went, oh, the Pirates are offering they're offering Kyle Schwarber. What kind of offer is this? And you realize it was the exact same offer, just one less year. That's how serious you guys are about adding payroll and adding players. You had no doubt a legitimate offer for Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, it's we're just trying to figure out in the market. We got to get better, and internally with the guys we have to continue to get better. And then can we add through free agency? Can we add through trade? How can we improve the offense and find a way to score more runs?
You got this Connor Griffin kid. He's going to be pretty special. I know he's been a top prospect for you guys. What are your expectations for him? How much will we see him in 2026?
Hard to say right now in the big leagues, but just really excited about him as far as blowing through 3 levels last year as a 19-year-old, getting up to AA. The year he had was phenomenal, and what a great kid. I mean, you talk about a guy that competes every day, that shows up to win, and just can't say enough about the human.
Isn't it crazy how fast these young kids now come up and they're ready?
They're ready. Yeah. Connor's the son of a coach, and got to hang out with him and his dad, meet his dad, and they're a great family.
Obviously, Paul Skeens is all world and to be special like that. You know, we just get to see the highlights or we just get to see the games, but being around him, such a special talent, but there's that work ethic. It's the stuff that's away from the cameras. Tell us just what makes him so special beyond just what we see on the mound.
Yeah, you hit it. It's the 4 days in between. You know, everybody gets to see him when he's out on the mound and competing, but the work ethic, the leadership, the teammate, the human in between those 4 days that he's working to get ready for the next start, there's nobody that works harder than him.
I know this may seem odd. We got to let you go here, but yes, we are the Athletics. Yes, we are in California, but my producer is from Pittsburgh, and that's all he talks about is you guys. So we will be following all of your moves, and we're rooting for you as we have a Pirates guy right here. So we'll always be keeping track, and we'll want to talk to you during the season. Good luck with all that pitching.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thanks for having me.
Manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Brian Kinney, is going to join us from MLB Now. I cannot wait. As I ran into BK in the lobby, I know what he is passionate about. But I'll tell you what, A's fans, if you remember those, it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was Friday, it was Keller. Saturday was Chandler. And Sunday was Burrows. And Chandler and Ashcraft were Saturday. It was shocking the kind of stuff we saw from the Pirates. I mean, it blew me away how good their stuff was. Well, you hear me reference the show all the time. I bring him up all the time because he's my favorite host on MLB Network, my favorite show, MLB Now. The great Brian Kinney, as I've said for years, how much I appreciate your talent from the time watching at ESPN and boxing and to what you've now done for all these years on MLB Network. It's always an honor to have you on the program.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's always good seeing you, too. I love talking baseball with you.
Well,
you know what you're talking about.
My favorite is when you got that old bee in your bonnet or your bird in your saddle. We went over it earlier today because we had Paul Himbakides on, our buddy from ESPN, who's also a researcher, and he gave me this great stat about Jeff Kent. Now, when Jeff Kent played with Barry Bonds, during that time, Jeff Kent had 108 plate appearances with runners on, more than anyone else in baseball during that time.
Wow.
And when we're talking about how Jeff Kent, one of the reasons why he's in the Hall of Fame now is because of what he did with the San Francisco Giants, and also because he was hitting behind Barry Bonds. So it's very interesting you being a part of it. We watched you on Sunday night talk about Jeff Kent, talk about the guys that didn't get in. I know the whole process. It's more the process. As someone like yourself who studies it every day, the process is what bothers you.
Well, yeah, and I've been studying this for a long time, and there's a lot of ways of looking at it. First, like I was long an advocate of when it's seemingly the whole thought pattern with sports writers, when sports writers pretty much owned the vote, and there was an occasional veterans committee. I was very big on positional importance, meaning Jeff Kent as a elite slugging second baseman deserved that type of consideration. And a lot, again, the old days, it was more, what are your totals? What are your overall value as a player? And I used to do essays on this. It sounds crazy now because we just accept it, but it was like every position must be manned. So if every position must be manned, you must have a second baseman. He must be able to field the position. If you get power there, it's an immense advantage. We take it for granted. Of course, that's the case. It wasn't taken for granted back in the day. So Jeff Kent being number 2 in slugging, at the position to Rogers Hornsby, number 1 in home runs, number 3 in RBIs, all that. He's a Hall of Famer. In my mind, is that a Hall of Famer? Yeah. And more of an old school Hall of Famer. I think the defensive metrics were a bit unfair to him. I think we know now more than ever that defensive metrics can be quirky, right? And I don't follow them, absolutely. I think defensive metrics do an injustice to Keith Hernandez, Don Mattingly, and Dale Murphy. But yeah, this is my issue, is that how are we missing the boat on the truly great players? And Dale Murphy and Don Mattingly spent 4 years for Mattingly, probably 6 or 7 for Dale Murphy, where they were the best players in their league. And if you want to argue it, you might say Mike Schmidt over Murphy. There's nobody you can say over Don Mattingly for those 4 years.
No.
If you want to go 5 or 6, fine, but you're not winning that. Total production, which is runs created, total bases, you can go anywhere you want, analytically or just, again, it's not even an analytics argument. it's if you lived through it, Don Mattingly, Dale Murphy. So that's what gets that's the bee in my bonnet, where even a guy like Carlos Delgado, like getting 9 votes is tremendous. Like, yeah, recognize the excellence of this guy. I've done essays on guys like Carlos Delgado, Adrian Gonzalez, did it on Matt Holliday. Like, when Matt Holliday hit the ballot, was it last year or the year before, I think 2 years ago, and it was just kind of dismissed. I was like, let me take a look. Just got on the reference page. Let me reacquaint myself with Adrian Gonzalez and Matt Holliday.
Yeah.
I said, holy cow. Like, look at this production. So I did essays on these guys. And by the way, these guys are candidates. But we're so stacked up now with excellent candidates from the last 3 decades that I don't think those guys will get a whiff. And Mattingly and Murphy are players that define an era. And I don't understand how the voters on that panel, on that Veterans Committee, being, I don't even know how many of them are younger than I am, right? I think most of them are older than I am. How are they not understanding that? It's not an analytics argument. With analytics, they get better. But when I say Don Mattingly was the best player in baseball, or Dale Murphy was the best player in baseball for a couple of years, there's no dispute. And how are they missing that? Also, where's the character clause? You hear so much about the character clause. How about you let it swing in a positive manner?
Yeah.
These guys are revered throughout the game. Talk to anybody here. Walk up and down these halls. The whole baseball world is here. Talk to anybody, and they'll stop, and they almost get tears in their eyes talking about these guys. I'm like, it's all right. So this guy's the standard by which all baseball players are measured. Can we honor that? Like, he was also it's not like a good guy award. They're the best players in the game.
There were Toronto Blue Jay guys crying after the series because Mattingly didn't win.
Right.
And he's just a coach.
Talk to the most cynical guys on earth, the New York sports writers. Ask Joel Sherman, John Heyman, right? Mark Kriegel, guys who ask somebody, what was it like to cover Don Mattingly? The best. What a prince of a guy. The best guy and the best possible guy. Like, the best player and the best guy.
Yeah.
So, what are we missing? Can you imagine this? Ron Darling and I had dinner last night, and he said, can you imagine what Cooperstown would be like on induction weekend if you had Don Mattingly and Keith Hernandez going in the same year? And that could and should happen. I'm big on Keith Hernandez, too. And that's not what it's all about, to, get 75,000 people in Cooperstown. But I don't know, why not? If it's for the right reasons,
that could break the record.
So I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with the process. I love the whole thing. Yeah, I host the awards.
Yes.
I host the ceremony.
You introduce all the guys.
I love being there. And look, when I see someone that, and like Jeff Kent, I'm excited. I'm going to see Jeff Kent. And the fact that he's so humbled by it is wonderful. He deserves to be in. That's why I even hate, during the broadcast, I almost didn't want to go off on this whole thing, because I'm like, but here's the guy being honored. We have to honor him. But Jeff Kent will have his time. He'll have the whole summer being the bride at the wedding, and that'll be exciting. But this was a missed opportunity. And last thing, Chris, I'll say, it too often I've seen guys go in dead. So you think, there'll be other chances. Well, maybe. There wasn't for Minnie Mignoso. There wasn't for Dick Allen. There wasn't for Buck O'Neill. They went in deceased. And so you'll have a family member go in and, give a speech. Happened to Ron Santo. And we're a little late on it. Guys who are now they're in their 60s, getting toward 70. But how long do you want to wait? It's a shame. And it could be all Cooperstown, the Hall of Fame, is one of those things that's one of the great things about baseball. This could make it even greater.
And you have to remember, folks, the passion that he has. Like he said, he's the guy that stands up and introduces all these Hall of Famers during the ceremony, which is so powerful. Having been to it, I went to it in '99 when Brett Yount and Nolan Ryan went in and Orlando Cepeda, and I sat up in front. And when you see all the Hall of Famers come out, man, it is powerful. So you can see where your passion is. And people like yourself, as you mentioned, Joel Sherman, it's like, guys that study this, why can't we have guys like you on a panel where you want to do what's best for the Hall of Fame. You want to put the right guys in.
Yeah.
And you study it. That's wrong. I don't know if who's ever on these panels is really studying it the way they should.
Evidently not. I don't want to criticize individual people. And look, I was heartened when I saw Jason Stark was on this panel. Yeah. You figure Kim Eng was part of the Yankees organization. There were 6 people within that 12 that gave votes to Don Mattingly and Dale Murphy. And I would even say, too, I don't want to make it all writers or analytics people, I would want to have a mix. Like I'd want to have like a Jim Cott in the room, right? Or if it's George Brett, like I'd want them in the room, but like they're not studying it every day, but you can certainly learn from them. And I know like Ron Darling again, who was saying last night to me, like this is the sort of thing you want from a player, saying I knew every at bat that Dale Murphy came up against me. He goes, I felt like I was facing a Hall of Famer. That's the sort of thing. Just to echo back, like, hey, what were we thinking at the time? What were you and your peers thinking about this player? Like, that's important too. So I don't want to make it all, hey, let's make it this analytics thing and let's get Jay Jaffe on the panel. Yeah, you want Jay Jaffe, but you also do want Ron Darling and you want Jim Cott and you want some guys who are players or contemporaries of them. So I'm not looking for an all analytics panel, but this panel missed the boat. You know, the Whitey Herzog saying, you're missing a hell of a game. They missed a hell of a game and a hell of an opportunity to do all that's great about baseball and just illuminate it on Main Street in Cooperstown this summer.
You know, the last few winter meetings we've had with you being here, it's Juan Soto signing the huge deal. It's Shohei Ohtani, and it was Aaron Judge when we were in San Diego. Yep. And then now I wrote this down to myself, like the trade market, we've had more trades than ever. And I'm thinking, it's like the sticker shock has gotten too big. I don't know. Maybe there's just not the marquee guy, but it seems like the sticker shock, the free agency, teams who always want to hold on to that prospect capital, teams are now looking to trade, whether it's need for need. Maybe you give up a prospect, but it used to be, I'd rather overpay for a guy and keep my prospect capital. Mm-hmm. Now it seems like maybe ownership is really coming down on this saying, yeah, I'd rather trade than go out and do these crazy long, big contracts.
But if I were a president of baseball operations, that's how I'd operate. I looked at the top 6 free agents, and we're preparing for a show that we're going to be doing MLB tonight, this afternoon. I'll be on at 6 p.m. And I said to my guys, I'd finish second on all these guys if I'm a GM. I probably, meaning there's something to love about all of them. But at a certain point, I think for every single one of them, except maybe Kyle Schwarber, it would get too rich for my blood. If I'm the Phillies, I think that's a proper deal for Schwarber. For the Phillies to maybe slightly overpay for a designated hitter and Schwarber, that makes sense. It's almost like paying for the guy that you drafted and developed.
Yeah, he's your guy.
He's almost right. He's your guy. And I always maintain psychologically, if he's your guy and you lose on the last 2 years of the deal where, wow, that guy fell off the cliff. Yeah, sure, he's 37, 38, wherever he is, and you don't get the return back. If it's your guy, you can psychologically take it because hey, we got him cheap early on. That's the way the system works. Now he gets us on the back end. We're good. But you're hitting the market fresh and you're like, hey, if it's Edwin Diaz, whoever it is, I want Kyle Tucker, and you want to go. I keep hearing these like 400 million, 500 million. I'm like, what? Wait, where? In what world? Like,
you're not an aircraft carrier, as you would like to say.
Exactly. He's close. He's a battleship.
Yeah.
He's a cruiser.
Yeah.
But right, the money gets so inflated, and if I'm a GM, I'm like, I'm out. Now, there's certain guys I would select. I'd say, hey, well, let's kick the tires on Merrill Kelly. Where is he? Hey, Ha-Seong Kim. What kind of money is he expecting? Like, I'd be all over different guys, but more on the low end. And for the high-end guys, we're looking, there's a lot of attractive things about Tucker and Alex Bregman, no question, right? And Schwarber. But you start getting into, it's $200 million. Like, I'm out, right? I will keep my prospect capital. I will, develop my own players rather than make those mistakes for and it's overspending as compared to your own drafted and developed guys.
6 o'clock tonight?
Yes.
Can't wait.
I'll try to keep the burrs out of my saddle.
I love it. The bee in your bonnet.
Which do you prefer, bee in the bonnet or burr in the saddle?
My mother used to say bee in the bonnet.
So,
but I like burr in the saddle. I like these old school sayings.
Right. I like
these kids don't know.
The bee in the bonnet is a little more gentil, isn't it? A little more sophisticated. I have a bee in my bonnet. Woo! The burr in my saddle is I'm on the old West and got a pain right here, which I think we can all understand.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
We need somebody like you stirring the pot because you are somebody that can live in both worlds. You can live in the old school world and you can live in the analytical world, right?
Yeah.
And you understand that. And I think it's key that somebody can live in the middle and kind of talk both sides. So keep doing what you're doing. And by the way, you know what I steal from you all the time?
What?
It's tough to get in the morning and run when you're in silk pajamas.
That's the old time boxing thing.
Yeah. I love that.
That's it could be Fritzy Zivic. Look that up. Was it Battling Levinsky? Yeah,
It is
him.
tough. It's tough to worry. It's
That's
the old Rocky 3, right? He got soft, and then had to get tough again.
Exactly.
You're
But
my
thank you, man,
favorite.
Chris.
You're my
Thank you.
favorite.
Appreciate you.
6 o'clock tonight.
Tonight on MLB
And then
Network.
what are you
yes.
going to do on Sunday? I mean, on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, go to Disney World with my wife.
All right.
that
So
all right?
if you want PK tonight, it'd be
This is it.
3 o'clock
This
our
is it.
time.
Or meet me over at, if you can get me into one of the rides faster. The Fast Pass is expensive now. Have you seen
Well,
that?
you know what? You're a celebrity.
Whoa.
You should be able just to walk right in front.
I used to work for them.
Yeah, tell them who you.
They used to treat me well, but I don't work for them right now. I don't know if they'll treat me
Just
as well.
remind them all
Yeah.
the big boxing you did for them.
They're probably still running my stuff. I look on ESPN Classic. I'm like, there I am with Bert Sugar. That's a good point. Hey, you're still using. They own my name and likeness. They've got 15 years of me. They can do whatever they want.
You're watching yourself with Bert Sugar.
Yeah, come on, it's me. It's Bert Sugar. Bert's gone. I'm not. Let me in.
All right, so 3 o'clock West Coast time. I know we said 6. That's Eastern.
6 Eastern.
West Coast time. We'll be on MLB Network. Thank you as always,
Great
my
seeing
friend.
you. Thank you.
Happy holidays, and we'll talk to you,
You
hopefully
too.
around spring training.
Always enjoy it.
Because the
Thank you.
A's, we're getting better, Brian.
You guys
Pay
are
attention. Nick Kurtz is the real deal.
No question. He might now. Yeah, does Nick Kurtz, last thing? Where does he land on top 10 right now? Like Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper, even Vlad Jr. They're all slugging around 500. Your dude's slugging 600.
Do I count this year?
What do you look? That's the year. You only
might
have
as
1
well
year.
just put him number 1 and keep him there for years to come, because none of those guys are going to match him.
He might, if he's got he has enough at bats. He might be number 1.
I'm just telling you,
Might
this
be
guy's
unfair.
different.
And he might looking. We're looking at next year. Is he the number 1 first baseman in the game? He might be. Like, I can't rule it out. I like to see a second year.
Yeah.
There's been spike years for different guys that then, gravitate back toward the pack. But I don't know. All those guys I mentioned.
Put him through the shredder. Let's see.
The shredder can be skewed. Your guy might be number 1. I've not seen the numbers. We haven't done the show. We do it in late January, and we'll start then. But he might be number 1.
He better be top 3.
Well, he could be anywhere 1 to 4. I think you got Harper, Vlad, Matt Olson. Who am I missing? Freddie and Freddie Freeman, who's number 1. But all those, look at their numbers. They all have nice numbers. Like, Dave Dombrowski was reacting to something. They all have nice numbers, nice on base, nice slugging, but not great slugging. Your guy had great slugging. All right.
Brian Kenny, MLB Network. Have a good show.
I'll leave you.
I'll be watching.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
BK, we always love having them. And MLB Now during the season is the best television show going. There is no question about it. The Duke. We got the Duke. Jim Duquette is going to be with us as he's saying hello to, and this is the great thing about the winter meetings. I mean, these are the biggest names in our sport. When you look at the guys covering our sport, Jim Duquette, long time executive in baseball, former GM of the Mets, Power Alley, the show that we talk about all the time. Mike Ferrin, his co-host, will join us in just a little bit.
Can you believe?
Number 1 show on SiriusXM.
Can you
when you want to talk about one of the nicest men that you could ever meet, so humble for a guy who, when you think of his absolute greatness of who Joe Rudi was as a player and as a man, and when you always talked, and it's unfortunate that we're losing some of these guys, but when you always talk to those guys, Sal Bando was the captain, Reggie was an absolute star. But when you talk to everybody about those teams, and Vita Blue was a star, and Catfish, and Ken Holtzman won so many big games, but they always talk about the rock of the team, the rock of the lineup was Joe Rudi. And Joe Rudi, I remember I wanted to talk to him about that, and he deferred to the other guys. It's one of the reasons why they were all so close. The greatness of those teams that won 3 straight World Series. They grew up together in the minor leagues. I want to say Joe Rudi's from Modesto, so his family got to come see him play. But we always looked at as the rock of those teams that won 3 straight World Series back in the day. Just talk about Joe Rudi's going to stop by for us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the
Joe Rudi.
A's Hall of Famer, 3-time World Series champion. He's going to be here for the draft. He's going to represent the A's at the draft.
He was almost a Red Sox.
Correct.
I was a Red Sox fan at the time, and I was all excited about that. And then it unraveled.
It was him and Raleigh Fingers. We're going to go to the Red Sox. They were in Red Sox uniforms. There's a picture of Raleigh Fingers and Joe Rudi in a Red Sox uniform. And, of course, baseball nixed the deal.
Yeah.
But they went over, and they were Red Sox for a hot minute.
Wasn't there a couple others, too, that were with the Carney Lansford? No, maybe not. It was definitely Rudi.
Carney was
definitely
in
Raleigh.
Boston, won a batting title, then came to Oakland.
There. Yeah, that was some crazy times back then.
How are you?
Good, man. Good to see you, as always. I appreciate me. I know my partner on SiriusXM, the Power Alley, 10 to 1 Eastern time. He wanted to do it together, and I really appreciate you guys not allowing that to happen.
Had enough.
I need separation.
Yes.
It's like the church and state. Everyone needs separation, like church and state, and that's what I'm kind of looking forward to, is just talking baseball without him, because you're going to have him right after me.
Correct.
And then,
but I wanted to talk to you. You had enough of him, and then I'm trying to figure out.
Enough.
Man, they got you working hard, because you're having to.
We're in a
Steve
car wash.
Phillips.
We're in a car wash.
And Jim Bowden. You got to be in between those 2 guys. Wow.
Yeah. I tell you, Sunday when we did that show, the 3 of us, we all were talking over each other.
Yes.
At certain points. Now I was supposed to be the point guard there. I was supposed to be directing traffic, and we're taught in our workshops, like, don't talk over each other. You may have a great point, but let everyone so everyone can hear your point. Just listen. But we weren't doing a lot of listening on Sunday. There's a segment or 2.
There's a lot of ego at that desk.
There was a lot of testosterone being spewed. I can tell you that.
All right, you work around the Mets for SNY. Edwin Diaz, just a couple million more, goes to the Dodgers instead of the Mets. Pete, the polar bear, Pete Alonso, somewhere around here meeting with people.
Yeah.
What's going on with the Mets?
Well, that's a great question. The amount of money that they lost out on, and I was just told before I came on here that they were given the opportunity to match the dollar amount, and apparently they didn't, is, I think, stunning to me. And the fact that he's a Dodger, it should not happen. And it makes me really question the direction of the team currently. And then they have a lot of heavy lifting to do. And that was one that, even with Devin Williams, you watched his season this year at the Yankees, it was an up and down season. And I understand that, David Stearns knows him from his Milwaukee days. And I think it's a good fit. And I think it'll be fine. But they had a chance to get Devin Williams and Edwin Diaz, and they lost out to Diaz over $3 million. $3
million
does not add up. It does not add up. If everything was equal, I was told he would go back to the Mets, and it wasn't equal. And so he said, "Well, I'm going."
Well, then you also look at the 13.3% or whatever he's going to pay in state taxes in California.
Yeah.
And I know New York's not as high.
It's 8.5%. Yeah, it's a 5% difference. I can't even believe they would have played that game. There's not surprising. That is a fumble from David Stearns' position. Okay, when you have that type of pitcher that is available, and he's that close to signing, and he's with you, and you don't get him, that's a fumble.
Why can't Pete Alonso find someone to really love him?
That's a great question. I don't know. He only drove in 126 last year.
That's it.
There's so many teams that have that type of run production in their organization, right? Oh no, there's only one other that drove in more than 126.
Yeah, what is the thing that since he entered the league, only Judge and somebody else has more
homers? Yeah, maybe Schwarber, and maybe not though. Pete might have hit more home runs than Schwarber, but like it doesn't add up to me. Other than the fact that he had the qualifying offer attached to him last year, and the league thought he's not leaving the Mets, so we don't want to get into a bidding war with Steve Cohen. That's the only thing I could think happened to him last year. This year, there should be more teams involved. Boston sounds like it. Baltimore sounds like it. He met with those two teams yesterday. The Mets, are, I don't know, kind of in on him, but I'm very fascinated to see what they're going to do because they need him in that lineup. That they're also trying to improve their overall defense. And by the way, you can get away with a slightly below average first baseman if you have a above average Marcus Semien, who you guys saw, right?
Yeah.
And
for years,
Lindor is above average, and you have your third baseman who's at least league average. That's an already improvement over what you had. So, and you don't have enough offense right now after trading Brandon Nimmo. So, I hope that the Mets are on that one better than they were on Diaz, but I don't know. Now there's a lot of uncertainty.
When you look our way with the Athletics and the job that David Force has done over the years, I mean, obviously he was in a tough situation, had to sell quickly. It looked like at the time it didn't go great, but my God, Shea Langoliers has really turned himself into something special, hoping to sign him to an extension.
Sure.
A lot of these young players, you now look at Jacob Wilson and Nick Kurtz, and Tyler Soderstrom turned himself into a Gold Glove type left fielder, had a great year. He's just going to get better offensively. Lawrence Butler, you start naming all these guys, the Leo DeVries deal. I mean, this kid could just be all world. Talk about the job David Force has done and how right before our eyes, the A's are starting to grow up, and you better look out for them in 26 and 27.
It's amazing.
Before Vegas.
Yeah, it's amazing how it's transformed. And, David has been incredible. Obviously, Mark Kotze, the development under him and the culture and atmosphere that is created under him. I think that allows those young guys to grow as players, and it creates an environment for success. And so I think the combination of those two guys have done such a terrific job that, finding some pitching, finding maybe a veteran bat to help, with maybe some inconsistencies that you might get out of there. I mean, that would be one of the more obvious things. We were just talking to Kotz earlier today, came on our show. They need certainly need pitching, starting pitching. So, we'll see what direction. I think you'd like to have some bullpen arms, some experience there. It's maybe more pitching than anything else, but it's happened overnight. And they were that long spell that they had the losing streak. Once they got through that, and to be able to kind of turn it around and not let that derail the rest of your season, I was impressed because a lot of teams would have just folded in and packed it in, after that long streak. But they stayed after it. They made some adjustments. They started getting, better production out of offense. Some of the young pitchers that they converted into the rotation, they played better defense. Like, there was a lot of things that
everything got better.
Yeah, everything got better.
Let's end on this. When you look at the A's, they're really different than a lot of organizations because as Eric Kaboto is going to do the draft, he'll be there getting ready for the draft. He's been with the Athletics forever. David Force has been there, came there, was working in the video room doing Moneyball. He's now the GM. Billy Owens has been there for that. So when you look at the continuity all the way down to Mickey Morabito's been there since Billy Martin, our travel secretary.
Amazing.
When you think of the loyalty and the family-like atmosphere of the Athletics, just for you who's in the business a long time, how refreshing is that? Because we don't see a lot of that in professional sports anymore.
No, we really don't. You don't see a lot of loyalty. It becomes a business. You see a lot of turnover, a lot of change, a lot of kind of a lack of understanding of the circumstances that you have, how difficult it is to build a team with that small of a payroll. All of those things kind of, in with the Athletics, it goes in runs. Right, there'll be a 2 or 3 year cycle where they're like, oh wow, they're here and this is going to be fun, and then the downturn happens because they got to trade all their players and they can't sign them, haven't been able to sign them, and they do it again and they unravel. Now they're on this upturn, But they're heading into Vegas now, where all of the ownership has talked about, hey, we can actually spend money on our talent and keep them now. So to me, this is the best part of being an athletics fan is where they think they're going to go and where it looks like they're going, because they can retain those guys. And that's not something that they, during this period, they always were clear that was their goal, but they could never get there because they couldn't get the ballpark situated the right way for them. So, it's all it sounds like from you might know this, but it sounds like from the stadium, like every day there's something new going up there.
It's rising from the ground. The lower deck's already been poured. It's being built. Our stadium experience in Las Vegas. So we have this thing called the Cube. It's technology. It's the only one of its kind in the United States. You step into it, they can press a button and put you anywhere in the stadium, and this thing's happening. And as you know, for players, acquiring players, no state taxes, that helps.
Sign me up.
All right. Did you ever get to talk to Steve Cohen about your Gucci slippers that are owed?
No, but before you put down any deposit on any apartments there in Vegas, I wanted to ask about those Gucci loafers that you've talked about over the last couple of years.
Okay.
Even if they're faux Gucci's.
All right. You know what? Get ready. They're coming. I'm going to find you something because I think it's awful that the Wilpons skipped town. They skipped town and skipped on your loafers.
Yeah, I think the statute of limitations are over. I don't know. I keep looking in the mail, but they're gone. I think they're gone forever. Like Kevin Franzen, our colleague, his luggage, he lost his luggage in the postseason.
Did he?
It's gone forever. You're never getting it back.
We always appreciate the time. Huge fan of the show. Keep doing everything you're doing.
Good to see you guys.
Keep refereeing all those ex-GMs.
Oh, that's I don't get paid enough for that.
Yeah. The Duke and his partner on Power Alley. We're just doing a car wash here in the second half of A's Cast Live. I think this year may be the record amount of guests that we've ever had.
Oh my gosh.
I think we're going to push over
opening act for me.
The Duke, just another tired old GM hack.
Golly. Like, why would you have that guy on? Who listens to what that guy has to say?
Oh my God, Steve Phillips, just listening. You have to deal with all these, the egos.
Well, that's the one I have to deal with on a daily basis. Is Duke.
The other guy, Jim Bode, you got to put a leash on that guy.
No comment.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm having a great time. I think this is this event has become very special because you establish the relationships with people in our business, and it's basically a baseball convention, and to get to see everybody once a year, because not everybody comes out west. Let's be real. So for us to get to see everybody, it's a blast. I know for you, I mean, you're like the mayor of the winter meetings. I mean, hopping from bar to bar, party to party, suite to suite. This is always a big one for you.
Well, for the extreme extrovert, this is your event. Like, this is where you want to be, right? If you draw your energy from other people, because there's a lot of other people around. And I do love it. It's my favorite event of the year because I get to see so many people. I get to hang out with you. We got to stand around. We get to hang out in West Sacramento. And
you came to SAC with the D-backs,
I did,
which was great.
Which was a lot of fun. And we got to go out and spend an evening together, which was really nice because we don't get to do that very often. And so,
or if we're in Arizona and your wife has the greatest charcuterie counter, not board, charcuterie counter that I've ever seen.
Yes, she does a great charcuterie counter. She's known for her charcuterie. I believe we were in a band. Cody and I were in a band called Charcuterie Counter once upon a time.
I took a picture of it, went to my wife, and went, "Honey, you're mid. You gotta step your game up." Look what I just did.
Are you saying your wife is 6'7"? Is that 6'7"? Just 6'7". Yeah.
She says she's a first grade teacher. Even the kids are doing that.
Oh yeah, no.
Go to commercial. Go to commercial. No 6'7" talk.
Winter meetings. What's floating your boat as we're here in day 3?
Nothing. I mean, it's been pretty quiet, right? So, like, Schwarber going back to the Phillies, not a big surprise. I think the Diaz move, Edwin Diaz going to the Dodgers, is a bit surprising. Dodgers have like $50 million committed next year to 3 relievers at the end of games,
and the Mets. The fact that like the Duke saying, I don't get how the Mets don't match that.
I don't. And Diaz's camp is saying that they didn't. Mets camp is saying that they would have gone higher. Like, there's a miscommunication in there. It may just be in the end that Diaz was like,
"Get me the hell out of here."
Well, I don't think it was that, but like the Dodgers are really good, And so what's your best chance to win a championship? If you're playing the odds, and this doesn't mean the Dodgers are going to win the championship next year, but if you're playing your odds, you're probably going to join the Dodgers, right? So I don't know. I don't know. I will be anxious to hear what Diaz and his representatives say after this, but it's a little bit of a surprising move. I mean, I'm not surprised that the Dodgers went to a shorter deal with a lot of money for a back-end reliever. I'm just surprised that it ended up being Diaz. And we'll see if it works out. Like, I mean, he's really, really good, but man, they spent a lot of money on their bullpen last year, and it was a disaster.
The most.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. You're around the Arizona Diamondbacks, obviously calling play-by-play. Our guy Torey Lovullo was just here, and it's like we're not shopping Ketel Marte.
No.
People are just calling.
That's exactly right.
So how do you feel? Are they shopping?
No.
His 10-5 rights start up in May, I believe. So that kind of $103 million left, 5 years with an option for a sixth. I mean, we need a second baseman. A's would love to have something like that. So is it just window shopping, or are they putting him out there on the street?
I don't think it's – I would say that it's not window shopping, but I don't think that they are actively shopping him either. I think what's happening is that they understand what that timeline is, right? Like, if you're going to move him, this is going to be your only chance to move him. Not that they want to, but this is the window where you would listen to offers on him. They have very specific needs. They need starting pitching. They're not deep enough. They want to compete next year. He's one of their best players, one of the best offensive players in the league. And he's on a really affordable contract. And so that gets teams like the Pirates involved. Theoretically, the Reds could get involved, that have starting pitching depth at the big league level that are looking for offensive impact. And because his contract is so affordable, so like we use the Pirates, for example, right? What do they offer? 4 and just over 120 for Schwarber, right? We knew that wasn't going to be close. But for 6 and 102, you can get Ketel Marte, and what it's going to cost you as players, and you have a lot of starting pitching depth. It makes a ton of sense for Pittsburgh to try and be in the mix, right?
I give Pittsburgh credit because their average annual value was the same as the Phillies. It was just 1 year less offered.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a nice, hey, we tried.
Yeah, they
tried.
tried.
Like, I mean, but it's like, does it signal, like I was asking Pirates official about this earlier today. Do you think that it signals to agents and whatnot that you're serious? And I think their hope is that it does to their owner, that this can be done too. Like that it's all of that they can bring it all together and be able to, hey, listen, we can invest in this roster. We can make it, so that it's better, so that it's competitive. And we also can get it in a spot where the revenues aren't going to go down because of it, because we're going to draw more fans. And so I think that's where the pitch is. So they're having to sell agents and they're having to sell their owner on what to do, because he's never really committed money like that.
Trying
so
to show that we can do business, we're open for business, and we're going to act like a franchise.
And they have a lot to do. But the thing is that they're pitching. Like, I don't think you understand. Right before I was in West Sacramento last year, I was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
like
we saw him at the end of the year. It was
Dude,
like,
those
oh my
arms are
God.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you got to see it when Bubba Chandler was up too.
Dude, is Chandler,
he's
Ashcroft,
gross.
Burrows. It was like, we didn't see
I
Skeens.
love Mike Burrows.
Didn't even need to see Skeens. We saw everybody else.
Mike Burrows, I think, is one of the most underrated starters in the National League. Like, that guy's stuff is good enough. Ashcraft, nasty. Mlodzinski, nasty. I mean, they just have these guys that are throwing 100, and it's not just like, dead zone fastballs. It's stuff with life and cut and movement and really good secondaries. Like, they have the pitching to be able to add an impact bat. So when you see that, and you're a team that's starved for depth in pitching, and you're good on position players, or at least you have, you're never going to replace Ketel Marte, but you feel like you can build that together in the aggregate. And in the process, you can free up some money to be able to add other needs. Like, I think it checks a lot of boxes as to why they're listening to the length that they are. But I don't think that they are I would not call them a motivated seller of Ketel Marte. I think if somebody's willing to meet their asking price, they'll trade him. But you've got to be willing to meet that asking price. And that asking price is going to be 100 to 110% of what the value of the player is.
Hey, when you have Mike Ferrin, you don't put 2 minutes up to me.
No,
How
I have to go
dare
tape
you
with
do
Walt
that?
Weiss.
Huh?
I have to go tape.
Yeah, he's talking to Walter Weiss. He's got bigger things to do.
A's
I'm
World
squeezing you
Series
into my-
champion Walter
Yes.
Weiss. Oh, you're squeezing
I'm
me
squeezing you in.
Well, guess
I'm
what?
doing this just for you.
For the squeeze, the fact that you have Mark Kotze on every week, you got to pay attention to the A's.
I do pay attention to the A's.
Yeah, you better watch out. The A's lineup. Look out. Some of these pitchers work out. It's going to be an interesting 2026.
Let me give you a guy that was a big loss for the A's this winter. Mike McFerrin, who's their pitching coordinator, no relation, going to the Royals.
Yeah.
Man, I was really excited about what he was going to bring with a lot of the arms that have come in the last 2 years. Keep an eye on Gage Jump. He's going to be there early this year. He's going to have an impact. I would not be surprised if Jamie Arnold has an impact faster than expected.
That's
they
what's
are
interesting,
super excited about Jamie
Arnold. All of a
Arnold.
sudden, when you see Jacob Wilson come immediately, Nick Kurtz, you see David Force is not afraid to immediately advance guys up.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I had Arnold on, and I'm like, man, I can't wait.
He's an impressive kid.
You think of
isn't he?
Morales, Jump, Arnold. I mean, you're talking about stuff.
I think Arnold's stuff is a little bit shorter. Like the fastball velocity isn't quite the same, but he has such good command and feel for his breaking ball. He's going to be an effective starting pitcher. I don't think he's going to be a star, but I think he's going to help to upgrade the roster. Jump has the better chance. I think the fastball utility is better with Jump. I think that's going to be really interesting to watch because I could see him taking a huge step forward and not necessarily being a true top of the rotation arm, but a guy that pitches more towards the front of the A's rotation when he gets there. The stuff is really good and has been since he's been famous for a long, long time as an amateur.
I know you got to go. This winter meetings has to be tough for you at the here at the Hilton, having really only being one small bar. You need to work multiple bars.
There's two.
Oh, there is two?
There's one over in the Waldorf, yeah.
So, okay, so you've been able to work because you're a multi-bar,
that's right,
networking.
The toughest thing about this hotel is not getting Marriott points.
Oh, I'm a Bonvoy guy myself. Well, you keep working it because no one works the rooms. No one works it. He starts changing. He switches outfits from bar to bar. I mean, it's almost like a Vegas show. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, just get ready. The 12 o'clock show.
Which bar will you be at? Where can I find you?
Yes.
I mean, it's like a schedule. Where's Waldo?
Yeah. Good to see you, pal.
Your show is the best.
It is one of the shows that is on our channel. That's for sure.
No, your show is the best.
Thanks, Bill.
I mean, I like the XGMs and everything, but I think the dynamic that you two have put together, that's what makes a good show. It's the two guys, how they play off each other.
That's all Duke. I mean,
how comfortable they are. You guys have been fantastic. Looks like you got to go.
Yeah, he's the only person that I talk to more than my wife is Jim Duquette. So
you got that going for you.
Yeah, I don't know that he appreciates that or maybe that she does, but that is the case.
When is the Arizona party? It's like in a couple months.
So
can you schedule it for when we're there?
I would like to. I'm having trouble with the scheduling because WBC is throwing a wrench in everything because it's not in Arizona this year. It's in Houston.
Oh, that's right. You're the face of the WBC.
I don't know. I mean, we may. I don't think we don't have an agreement to do it as of yet.
You're going to be doing play-by-play.
But it's thrown a wrench into the planning of the annual Cactus League Broadcasters Dinner as to finding
Can your wife just put the charcuterie counter up and walk come over?
Year where I did it on a Monday, which she was already mad about, and she started a new job on that day. So I did not win Husband of the Year for 2025.
I'll get your smokers going, and she makes the security counter.
We've already got the menu pretty well set. We just need to find the date.
He puts together a great party for all the broadcasters in Arizona.
It's a lot of fun. It's always great. Erica always says we could sell tickets to it for charity if people would want to come and just hang out.
There's plenty of people who would want to just sit there and listen. Yeah. When Shambi shows up and starts telling stories, and you're just sitting there eating cured meats.
One of the highlights last year, I don't know if Ken's watching, was Ken. One of my dogs stole a sausage off Ken's plate.
Ken Korak?
Ken Korak going, George, no! It was amazing.
The great Ken Korak.
Yeah.
All right, go do your interview.
All right, guys.
Thank you for your time.
Yep.
I mean, I know just to squeeze us in, it's an honor. We got a break? I mean, there's a lot of instructions going on here. Tony Vitello,
let's give you a break for Tony V.
Where are we in the schedule? How much time we got left? Who's next?
Tony V.
Tony V. All right, the manager of the San Francisco Giants next, right here on A's Cast Live.
A's first base coach Bobby Crosby joined Townie on A's Cast Live to reflect on winning the American League Rookie of the Year award back in 2004.
Yeah, when I first won it, I thought it was really cool, but I was in the midst of playing. And I still had, a bunch of my career left to go. Once I was done playing, I appreciated it more. And now I start to appreciate it more and more as time goes on. I mean, it's something that, they can never take away from you. So no matter what, I'll always have that title, and it looks like we're going to have another one doing the same thing.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
When it comes to knocking it out of the park, nobody beats Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is a 7-time Triple Crown Award winner, Ford Motor Company's highest honor for being the best in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Step up to the plate for our biggest selection of new Ford models, including the legendary F-150, on sale now. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters in the Folsom Auto Mall, folsomlakeford.com.
That ball is out of here.
The time is now. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun. Spring training is back as the Athletics get ready for the 2026 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 22nd, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Dodgers, Giants, Cubs, Padres, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game time, schedules, and more.
'25 Roberto Clemente Award nominee Lawrence Butler sat down with Townie on A's Cast Live to talk about giving back to the community and what it truly means to him.
I mean, I learned from some of the best. Marquise Grissom, Luke Collier. I mean, a lot of those guys, they just always, just wanted to pour into, their communities. And, I was a part of their communities. And, they made a lot of good ball players with the work they've been doing. So, I just try to take a page out of their book and just do the same, for my community and just really any community that I'm living in the moment. So, like you said, Atlanta, North California, and, no matter where I'm at, I just want to, just help kids and help the community, just try to grow the game.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics. Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'sCast. That's athletics.com/A'sCast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'sCast today.
A's Cast Live continues from the winter meetings. Here's Chris Townsend.
So you're telling me that the Halos have made a deal?
Yeah, apparently they traded Vaughn Grisham, who they got in a deal from the Braves with that Chris Sale deal. They just flipped him for a prospect. So Vaughn Grisham's now an Angel, and the Red Sox got a prospect back from the Los Angeles Angels of Disneyland, Anaheim, whatever they are, the other Disney.
Well, the Red Sox have been one of these teams that have loved giving the money to players before they ever play in the big leagues, really, and have success in the big leagues. Now, you think that the Roman Empire, Roman Anthony, that one's going to work, but, they're one of the teams for Marte. I mean, how many of their guys that they signed to deals are going to play that much?
I wouldn't say many.
I mean, so you gave these extensions to these kids, and I don't know if they're going to be on the roster.
Well, Christian Campbell's in the minor leagues.
He was back in AAA, and this other guy, Marcelo.
Oh, Marcelo Mayer.
I mean, he's a second baseman. If you get Marte, where are you going to play him?
So you got Roman Anthony. There's that one.
I think he's going to work.
I think he's going to be okay. Might be a nice little player for them.
Yeah.
And then, it's Red Sox are interesting. I mean, they have the money, but what Craig Barizal is doing is, I kind of like it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. He's bringing in guys. They're developing a lot of pitchers. Like we saw Connolly early pitch this year in Sacramento, in West Sacramento, and he pitched well in the postseason. Like he made his debut against us, and then he shoved in the postseason for the Red Sox. They have a lot of pitchers. It's more of these. What are they going to do with these young position players if they're going to keep trying to get all these? Oh, Marte's not that. I mean, he's 32, so he's not that old, but he's older, right? I mean,
by the way, losing McFerrin to the Kansas City Royals. Mike Ferrin just bringing that up. I've heard mixed things about that. I've heard like, we'll be all right.
I remember I texted you about it. I said, because we always heard so much about him. We had him on, and I know Bill Moriarty of Athletics Farm did multiple interviews with him, and he came from Wake Forest, so he's a part of that pitching lab they had there. He was with Nick. I mean, obviously Kurtz was a position player there, but
do you know Nick Kurtz? He told us what Nick Kurtz's. It wasn't being Amish, the big Amish. You know what his nickname was at Wake Forest?
I remember him telling us, but I don't remember what it was.
Spider-Man, because everything's stuck in his glove because he was so good defensively. It wasn't about offense. That was Nick Kurtz's at Wake Forest nickname, I guess, was Spider-Man.
We saw some moments like that this year. He has a good glove at first base.
But there always is that too inside baseball, where you have somebody who comes in as a specialist, and there's going to be some on the side that this is great, and there's going to be some on the side that went, I mean, no one's saying anything bad. It's just this overall value, how it gets sold, that this mind is coming into the organization, and this is going to change everything. That is kind of the belief, right? You look at the skill set, you look at the knowledge, you think that he is going to come into the organization and everything's going to change. And I mean, it gets better, maybe, but it's hard. It's hard to what you can really do with all those different arms at all those different levels, at all those different ages, to be one person who comes in and just changes it all. It's maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
I was going to go back to that. Someone mentioned it. Martin Gallegos mentioned a name to me earlier, and I that list that we sent, that you sent the emo of the pitchers earlier or yesterday. I'm looking to see if there's a guy on there. See if you had him on there. Yeah, you did. He said that he told me Jacob Lopez, because he knows we were dying to know, Jacob Lopez will not be pitching for Mexico in the WBC. Then I was like, did we have him on that list? I couldn't remember, and yes, he's on there.
You mean my list?
Your list you sent the emo.
So yesterday, as I was cruising around Disney Springs, so we are Californians, about to be Nevadans. Is that right?
I don't know the correct terminology.
You're Nevadan. We're used to going to Disneyland in Anaheim. And Disneyland in Anaheim has Downtown Disney. Downtown Disney connects Disneyland and Disney California to the Disneyland Hotel. And off to the side of the ball of Disney California and the side of Downtown Disney is the resort, the Grand California. But essentially, Downtown Disney connects all the properties, right? So I usually say at the Disneyland Hotel, you walk out of the Disneyland Hotel, you walk through Downtown Disney, and that gets to the main gates. You can take the monorail, but you get it. So it connects everything Downtown Disney. Well, I went over to Disney Springs yesterday. And Disney Springs is Disney World's version of Downtown Disney. So I'm walking all around. It's got shops. It's got restaurants. It's got everything. I'm walking around. I ate at the Boathouse. If you're ever going to be at Disney World and you're going to do Disney Spring, the Boathouse was seafood. It was actually very, very good. Watched a little Monday Night Football. And then I walked to the end of Disney Springs thinking like this is going to connect me to the front gate of Disney World. How do you think that worked out?
I'm going to take a wild guess, say it didn't work out.
So I'm learning more and more about the Disney World here in Florida. Yeah, Disney Springs is its own deal. It's surrounded by water. So I then put in my app, like, where's Disney World? Oh, Disney World is 2.1 miles away from Disney Springs. to where downtown Disney connects to Disneyland and Disney California to the main gates. Disney Springs is its own entity. It is not Disneyland. So I'm starting to realize that, yes, the world of Disney, Florida gave them all of this land, and they've developed all of this land. And what I've noticed about everywhere that I've been is that, yes, there may be way more of Disney World, but I'm not seeing better quality because I've done a lot of Disney, especially with my kids. Like, I grew up in Southern California. So when you grow up in Southern California, you go to Disneyland all the time. We went every year, and most times we went a couple times a year. But remember, back then it wasn't as expensive, right? Disney California was a parking lot when I was a kid. You pulled up, you went into the park for the day, you got back in your car, and you went home. You really didn't stay there. Now it's a whole different. These people who are coming to Disney World, these people are staying on average like 6-7 days. These are like $10,000+ trips to this place.
And you mentioned Disney Springs, and made me think of Radiator Springs, the ride at California
Correct.
Adventure. I saw a thing on X, I think last week, that there's a guy that was going back for his 15,000th ride on Radiator Springs or something like that.
Oh, God.
Who keeps track of that?
No, there's a lot of people. When you go to Disneyland, there's a lot of people who need to get a life. There's no question. But what I've noticed with Florida is everybody says that there's just a lot more. There's a lot more, but I don't know, because I'd take downtown Disney over Disney Springs any day of the week. The quality of the restaurants, the shopping, and everything. There's a lot more in Florida. I'm just saying it looks a lot older, and it's not as nice.
Well, we'll have some time tomorrow for our flight at like 7:30 or whatever it is back to.
Well, we could go. It's like we could go tonight. We could leave We could leave and have a full night in Disneyland if we wanted.
Disney World.
Disney World. We have Joe Rudi here, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Rudi is going to be here for the draft. He is going to sit in for us and hopefully bring us the first pick. Joe Rudi, what a career he has had. He's
no,
now
because I don't want to.
away.
I don't have to, because I know
he just walked up. He's walking away.
Well, they know 345.
3-time World Series champion, 3-time Gold Glover, 3-time All-Star in the A's Hall of Fame. I was getting ready for Joe Rudi, and now he's leaving.
He'll be back. They know 345.
So if you're just joining us from the draft standpoint, that is going to be at 2:30 West Coast time, 5:30 here. Odds for the draft, it's White Sox, Twins, Pirates, Orioles. A's are 5th at 6.55%. Is this the year when we have the lowest? I mean, we are low that we get number one.
Well, we haven't had the first pick since.
First overall pick. Was that
Your Athletics.
Was that Todd Van Poppel?
Nope. Back further.
Back further? It's not Rick Monday.
It's the only time we ever had the first pick.
Rick Monday was the only time?
Yep. 1965, so 50 years ago, when we had the first pick.
And there's been a lot of winning seasons during that time, so does it show you how overrated the number one overall pick has been? Because you can see a lot of bad overall number one picks.
Well, I mean, there's been some number one overall pick. Yes, I was going to say there's been some bad first round picks for us.
I mean, that's in every sport.
But number one overall picks, I mean, the one everyone remembers is Brian Taylor
of the Yankees. Yeah, that was left-handed high school. That was just an absolute disaster.
Yeah, we've had the number 2 pick a couple of times. Obviously, Reggie, Mark Mulder, Ben Grieve.
Ben Grieve was second round.
Yeah, number 2 overall.
You breaking news? Danny, breaking news? No. How's the suite? Is the suite nice? Is all right? Okay. We're having a great time. Dan Feinstein, the assistant general manager for the A's, just walking by.
David Force tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific.
Every single time an A's official walks by, are we doing anything?
What do you mean? The man that runs Las Vegas Ballpark, Don Logan, is right there.
Don Logan. I see some of these people I'd like to call over, but we got Tony V coming, right?
Yeah, he's doing SiriusXM right now.
Because Don Logan is one of the most powerful people in all of Las Vegas.
Everyone knows. I mean, he was at the Experience Center event, and
everybody knows him.
Everyone was talking to him.
So, basically, when you think about Vegas all these years in professional baseball, and being, AAA has been one of the main events in Las Vegas for a long, long time. He has been the guy that runs the whole show. All right, before Tony V gets here, and since I see that from Tony V to Vittorio, give the special on the tickets before we get into Tony V.
Spring training tickets are now available. Spring training 2026 is officially on the horizon, and single game tickets are now available. Join us at Hohokam Stadium in Mesa, Arizona this spring as the Green and Gold return to the field for a fresh season of baseball in the Arizona sun. Athletics.com/spring. And you can also get your priority access for tickets in Vegas for $19.01. We're honoring the first year of our franchise in 1901. This is the 125th anniversary. Athletics.com/Vegas to secure your spot for Vegas.
Yeah, I would get in on the Vegas deal because you want to get in and see the Experience Center, which you're going to need a reservation to get in. You're going to want to get in and see it. It is absolutely spectacular. And I've had a lot of people contact me. How do I go? Just don't show up. You just can't show up. If you just show up, you're not going to get in. You need a reservation. And so many of the tricks that they got going in this Ballpark Experience Center is absolutely unreal. You're just going to want to see that, but you're also going to want to get in and see where you're going to want to have tickets. And then spring training. I mean, spring training is no doubt, when you think about what do I get somebody for spring training, the gift of spring training with tickets and maybe flights and hotel, it's the best. And that's one of the things, like once we leave here, the winter meetings every single year, then it becomes starting to get ready for spring training. Like already, so I got into Disneyland because you talked about my list. So as I was dinner at the Boathouse, I put this list together because we had Scott Emerson on, the pitching coach for the A's. So I wanted to be sure all the guys that we really could talk about who have the potential that he would verify that could pitch, start for the A's next year. Luis Severino. So my thing was, okay, starters, Luis Severino, we got Springs, we got Morales, Lopez, Perkins, Ginn. That was my first level. Unless we add somebody, those are the guys. If they stay healthy, there's 6 guys. That will be your first 5 out of that 6.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I'm looking at the list too.
Then my next level, I went jump, Net. Net is the kid that came over from San Diego in the trade. Estes, Hoagland, Barnett, Basso, Waldachuk, Medinez, Baez, also the kid came over in the San Diego trade for Mason Miller, and Spence. And I said to Scott Emerson, is that good? And he goes, looks good. So these are the guys that you have. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's 16 guys who potentially could be starting for the Athletics next year, which, as if you would have been here early this morning at 7 a.m. West Coast time, Alden Gonzalez from ESPN talked about how the Dodgers used 40 pitchers last year and they won the World Series. You have to have a huge group of guys because you're going to use a lot of them. And as we saw with the Athletics, and I love the strategy and I hope we continue it, it will be something that we'll talk with David Forrest about tomorrow, is continuing this. Hey, starters can be bullpen guys. And when you put guys that can give you more than 3 outs, man, you really find a way to eat up your innings and eat up outs. You need bullpen guys that can go more than just 1 inning, especially since starters, it just is what it is. They don't want guys going through a lineup 3 times. So you're not going to see a lot of starters go deep in games. So somebody has to get the outs. And if you start going, you get 1 inning, you get 1 inning, you end up having too many guys. And it takes one guy to have an off night for you then to lose that game. It's better to have 2 or 3 relievers suck up all those innings than to have 5 or 6. Just is. And the A's did that in the last 2 months, and they had the best bullpen ERA, and they had some of the best numbers in all of baseball in the last 2 months because they stopped using volume. They stopped using individual guys. Hey, Hogan Harris, you come in, get an inning and 2/3. Kelly, you come in and get an inning and a third, right? Everybody, Sean Newcomb, you can go 2 innings. Sean Newcomb, you can go 3 innings.
He was really good.
So we got rid of this. You're only going 1 inning and pitching 5 relievers and could finish a game with 2, maybe 3 guys. It's just you look at the odds of it. If you throw 5 pitchers out there after a starter, it takes 1 bad guy to have an off night and it's ruined. I'd rather pitch less guys and have them go more outs. I mean, to me, that is the way to go, and I hope we continue that.
Yeah, Nuke. I mean, I have the numbers all broken down on what the guys did since the Mason Miller trade on August 1st.
Yeah.
I mean, Sterner, 140 ERA, Hogan Harrison, 116 ERA. Newcomb's a free agent. He had a 0.84. Tyler Ferguson, a 157. And even Elvis Alvarado had an ERA just a little over 3 last year for the Athletics after the Mason Miller trade on July 31st. So that's what the bullpen was able to do. And they had the second best bullpen ERA, 299, in all of baseball behind only the Guardians, who had the best bullpen ERA overall.
If you look at all the free agents that are out there right now for starting pitchers, I don't know who you could really look at and pinpoint and go, yeah, that guy. I mean, I have a list of all of them, and you look at them, and it's a lot of, And Verlander's not going to come to Sacramento.
Probably not.
No.
Would
I take Verlander at a cheap deal? Of course I would.
I think the 2 guys that Martine and I were talking about, he really likes Adrian Hauser, who pitched pretty well last year for the White Sox and Rays, and then Zach Littell. These guys can give you innings if you.
I need innings, right? I mean, we got plenty of sabermetrics dorks around here telling us that ERA doesn't matter. Well, if ERA doesn't matter,
that's just one dork.
Huh?
That was just one dork.
Oh, there's quite a few of these dorks around.
Well, the only guy that said it we saw publicly was Eno. I sounded him.
Which Eno calls himself a baseball dork and has given us permission to use baseball dork.
He has said that, yes.
He has given us permission here on A's Cast Lives to use that because he says he is a baseball dork. But if you're going to bring somebody in, he's got to be somebody who's an innings eater. You can't be an old guy trying to figure it out or run-the-mill guy trying to figure it out and giving me 4 1/3, 3 2/3. I got to have innings. It's what we're all desperate for. The whole sport is literally desperate for how are we going to get innings for 162 games? Who's going to get all these outs? Who's going to pitch all these innings?
Yeah. And, I mean, who are some of the – I mean, I haven't looked at the updated list of pitchers after C signed that are – there's like – I like the Littells, those guys like that. You know you're going to – Chris Bassett would be a good one too. You and I have talked about Bassett earlier this offseason that he would be –
I got to think Bassett is going to sign for some good money. I mean, you look at the year he had in Toronto, then you always know that he can pitch out of the bullpen. I mean, if you want to spend some money, I mean, Chris Bassett has to be worth something. But then maybe we value that. But
Framber Valdez, okay. Ranger Suarez, Zach Gallen, those are some of the bigger.
Those guys aren't that.
Scherzer, would you take Scherzer?
Here's something that I don't want to block. I don't want to block a bunch of our young guys. I don't want to do it. Tony Vitello, the new manager of the San Francisco Giants, is going to be joining us as he's signing some autographs right now. He's with John Morosi, our old buddy John Morosi, on the phone. So Tony Vitello, manager of the San Francisco Giants, is going to join us. But like when we talk about Jump and Arnold and Perkins, I still like JT Ginn. Lopez. I don't want to block these guys from starts. I don't want to block these guys' growth. So it sounds great to bring in the veteran guy, but how many times you bring in the veteran guy? And I would like to see the young guys get a shot. As much as I want to win games in 2026, and yes, would I love to talk about winning the division and the playoffs in 2026? Of course I would. But the eye on the prize is still you need to find a staff and you need to find these young guns who are going to be ready to go in 2028. So I don't want to block any of the young players. I feel the same thing about third base, and I feel the same thing about second base. I do not need another Gio Urshela. I don't want to block the young guys. I want to give the young guys a shot to play because you got offense and you got enough offense to get to the postseason. Is if these young pitchers can figure it out, it could be something. And these young arms, because this Net kid that was part of the trade with the Padres, a lot of people believe he could be a big league starter. I want to give all these guys a shot. I want to give and some of these guys you may have break in like Perkins did out of the bullpen, and they may learn to get outs and throw innings coming out of the bullpen. But I do not want these. I don't want to be in a situation where we have a guy who needs the opportunity and needs to get reps and needs to figure it out at the big league level, and we got him stuck in Las Vegas with the Aviators. I just don't want that to happen. So that's why I made this list of 16 guys and sent it to Scott Emerson and said, are we good on this? And that's exactly what happened. Tony Vitello, manager of the San Francisco Giants, going to sit down with us here on A's Cast Live for the very first time. It is great to have you. How are you?
I appreciate you saying that.
Welcome to the winter meetings.
Yeah, I'm. I don't want to say blown away, but I'm kind of wowed at. There's a lot going on. You got to keep your head on a swivel here.
You know, it's interesting. I was, getting ready for this interview. I ran into an old YouTube of you getting introduced at the University of Tennessee as a very young man.
Not a lot of facial hair.
And you were talking about how, why wouldn't you want to take this job? It's the opportunity of a lifetime. And it made me think about where you are now. Why wouldn't you take this job, the San Francisco Giants, and leave college and leave a great job at Tennessee? You're making a really good living. Everything was great, but why would a great opportunity to manage in the big leagues? So the same thing that happened at Tennessee years ago is happening now for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting perspective you put it into. And I think the one thing that all athletes, because there's so many competitive people here, whether it's the job you're doing, of course, athletes, are floating around a little bit. A lot of coaches, everyone's trying to push forward. And so being able to push forward and get that job at Tennessee was a blessing. And then this is a whole different realm. And the only difference between the two, I'd say, is I envisioned the one at Tennessee. Never even thought of this as a possibility until some things started to kind of come up.
So I started bringing up because, let's face it, baseball is a little archaic. And you're old enough to remember back in the day when a guy by the name of Jimmy Johnson was leaving the University of Miami. They fired the legendary Tom Landry with the Dallas Cowboys, and they're bringing in Jimmy Johnson. They're like, this college guy, it's never going to work. 2 Super Bowls later, and he's now in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And then, you think of Barry Switzer, longtime Oklahoma, replaced him and then won another Super Bowl with the Cowboys. So we've seen it in other sports. We haven't seen it really in baseball, in modern day baseball. I mean, when you think about yourself, you're a pioneer. If this works out great for you, this could really change for a lot of coaches in college baseball and change our sport. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, no pressure.
A lot of pressure.
I hadn't really thought of it in those terms when it was kind of, okay, where are we? Which direction was I going to move in personally? But then I got a lot of texts that said, the phrase was, I'm glad you did it.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think, like, would they have thought I foolish to not, because I had 2 really great options, if that's okay to say. But I think ultimately what people meant is they're glad that there's somebody from college baseball moving in this direction and doing this. And I think there's a lot of guys in college, whether it be at Power 4 or lower level, that are kind of looking to do the same thing. So if this does go well, then I think there is a little bit of a blueprint.
Well, I'm very interested. As a former college, I'm an old college baseball player, but as an old college baseball player, I'm really interested. I'm really fascinated. I'm going to be watching this. And I think about, the key for all the managers that I've dealt with and head coaches in football that I've dealt with, it's about the tone. It's about how you set the tone for the organization. In baseball, it's just not for the big club. It filters all the way down. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that first speech when you get in front of all of these men that you're going to be leading?
Yeah, I think, for me, it's going to be getting to know the players first so they know where I'm coming from whenever that first speech or first couple weeks, are put into play and you're trying to set a tone or a reoccurring theme, ultimately that'll lead into an identity. And it's taken up a lot of my thoughts. A big thing of, what I envision is having the support staff and the coaching staff that kind of back that up or represent that and can put it into play. So I'm glad we're near the end of putting that group together. And I think it'll be fun to put together those thoughts on paper and then read them off to the guys.
Well, you have obviously a lot of talent. I mean, you got some frontline starters. Robbie Ray, obviously, and I love Logan Webb. You got some extremely talented position players. But the one thing that I've always noticed is, and one thing that people have said is your strength is communication. Talk about that, the ability to communicate with the players. We've had Tony, obviously with the A's, we've had Tony La Russa, A's Hall of Famer and Baseball Hall of Famer on many, many times. And Tony would always tell us how he made it a point every single day to connect with a player. Somehow, someone was in the clubhouse or it was in BP, he would connect. Communication is the key. Talk about how that is a huge strength for you.
Yeah, I think, for recruiting, you constantly have to be recruiting kids or reaching out to kids. You'd almost call them like touches or points of contact. Like, even if it's just a text, or when I first started coaching, it was putting something in the mail to a kid. It's constant. And then you're going out on the field and you're trying to do that with your players that are on your current team. So that's something that I've tried to put in play too. Not to that level of Tony La Russa. He called me and could not have been more generous.
That is awesome.
Yeah, unsolicited. Was pretty amazed in general at how some guys reached out, and even felt bad because it was hard. They gave immediate reach out and the world was kind of crumbling for me. So I haven't given everyone their just due, but with him, he catches me at a time where I talk with him on the phone. I'm at a party in Tennessee. It was a charity event where coaches showing up was an auction item. And I couldn't find paper. So I eventually grabbed a paper plate and started writing things down as he was saying them, because I was like, this is too good.
Yeah.
The first 10 minutes, I was like, I'm from St. Louis. And I grew up cheering for the A's too during the McGuire days. So for La Russa to be calling me in general, I think I was listening, but I don't know that I heard the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But when I got my bearings, it was time to take some notes.
We see coaches leave other schools and pretty ugly, right? Obviously, the Lane Kiffin thing is the ugliest, and Lane goes back to Tennessee. But I have to think that everybody there at Tennessee, when you say you're going to take the San Francisco job, it's different. Did you leave with everybody just going, wow, what a great opportunity and good luck to you?
They had an option to do to go two different ways, or maybe even in the middle, and save from a couple people. I mean, I was blown away at how supportive everybody was, and saying nice things about our group's things at Tennessee that we did, but fired up. Or now we're Giants fan, and the amount of people that bought gear right away, I say it humbly, it was freaking awesome. And then, the players sticking together and making sure the coaching staff that was there was the one that would be selected was pretty cool to see. So for leaving a place where it's such an emotional end and you hate to do it, things worked out about as good as they could be.
But it's cool. They're buying the gear, the orange and orange.
Yeah.
Works. Yes.
And I've seen some checkerboard San Francisco Giants stuff. Cool. Maybe I shouldn't say that on here. I should patent some of that stuff and sell it.
Start making some money. What's the one unknown that you're still worried about?
What does spring training and what does baseball look like? There'd be concern, or you could label it worry at times. But when my mind races driving down the highway, or you're at the airport delayed, which happens every commercial flight now, I don't know what it's like. I mean, I've talked to a bunch of people about spring training. I've been at a spring training for a couple days as a coach. What does 162 look like?
Yeah.
Obviously it's a lot of days, and I'm not worried about the days. I mean, in college baseball with recruiting, you have to learn to become a marathon man a little bit, but they're different days. I can tell you how hard it is to stand or be on the road for 2 weeks in recruiting, but I haven't done this. So again, I've asked questions. I've sought counsel, but you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be the most flights, the most hotel rooms. You fly, being on the West Coast, you fly more than anybody else. It's, I going back to my college days, we played an era of endless games. They changed that, so, this is not playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday and having a Tuesday guy. I mean, it's playing every single day. So it's going to be interesting how you go about utilizing your roster, not for a big 3-game set in the SEC, but now you got to plan for the game today and how it's going to work out for a week. And it's that I'm really looking forward to see how you do it.
Thank you. And I don't want to eat crow, but I kind of am excited about that. And I enjoy the competition part. So you would think more is better. But really the unknown is just what is spring training really like? What does it feel like? And when am I going to be able to insert some things I want to do? And what is the exact requirement? And then what is that vibe in the dugout? And what's an everyday day at the ballpark for a 3-game series against whoever it is? Just what does that look like? I could write some things down or share some thoughts, but again, until you live it and feel it, you don't know. So it's exciting, but also, you get, I don't know, again, I don't think worried's the word, but you kind of get some concern, like, am I going to do this as well as I want to do it?
Well, a lot of people don't understand, we'll end on this, is college baseball for a long time has been ahead of pro ball. There's been a lot that's been done technology-wise that wasn't going on in pro ball, that was going on in college. People need to realize how much money is in the SEC because of the football and the basketball contracts, and it filters down. You've been around the data. You've been around the technology. You guys have been around all of that stuff they don't have in the minor leagues. So in some ways, you have a little bit of an advantage because you've been doing this for a long, long time with all the data and technology.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how even some rule changes, the SEC was a little bit of a leader, and there's other great college baseball out there besides the SEC, but there's very few fan bases like SEC fan bases. So that drives the money, and then the money is put into facilities and other things like that, and it makes a difference, and it certainly helps as a coach to learn that stuff. And you have experience, not all, but a good amount of things. And the other thing about those fans is they know who you are, and they know how to razz you a little bit. So whether it's Baton Rouge or, College Station, maybe that'll be a good prep too.
And our fan base knows guys out of college. I think you've heard of Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson. Yeah, they came right out of college. They were prepared and they were ready to go. I think you're going to do the same.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Good luck to you, and we'll see you down in spring training, and you're a pioneer. And for all of us old college baseball people, we're watching because, our old coaches we think about are like, yeah, this could be really cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Enjoy yourself.
Appreciate it.
Tony, thank you so much. Very interesting conversation with the new manager of the San Francisco Giants. That is great stuff. And, I think people really need to realize that college baseball has been pretty high tech for a long time. When you start talking about biomechanics, where Nick Kurtz came from, Wake Forest has done a lot with the Wake Forest Hospital and all the different trainers and everything. Where am I? Where am I? Oh, Joe Rudi's right there. Tony V's talking with Joe Rudi. But yeah, you learned that pretty early that college baseball was using technology. They were using, they started using things like Rapsodo before big league baseball did. So with the world Tony's coming from, to see how it translates. But, it's about winning, and it's about communication and how you handle the players. Great players like Joe Rudi. You got to be able to handle these guys. When you think about a 3-time World Series champion, a 3-time All-Star, a 3-time Gold Glove winner, one of the great outfielders of his time, and as an A's Hall of Famer, it is always great to have you on. No pressure. We only need you to bring the number 1 pick today.
Oh, my God. Trying to follow that. We've done pretty good with our picks over the years, though. I mean, go back all the way to my day when we got Rick Mundy and Bando and Reggie and all coming through the draft. You look at the guys, over the years. So, they had some good picks in the last few years, too.
It is amazing to think back. Rick Mundy at Arizona State is at the College World Series. He's down the line stretching with his team, and a writer comes down and goes, "You've been picked number 1 by the Kansas City Athletics." How far we have come since that very first draft, and you've lived it all.
Been very, very lucky. So blessed. It's walking around and looking at all these young guys here. It's a young person's game, as we know, and I don't know anybody anymore, especially in the front office. So it's a different game, but it's still fun to enjoy. I love watching it. Where do you live in Florida? Right here in the Villages, about an hour north of here. It's called The Villages.
Yeah.
And our son, he's an anesthetist who was working at the hospital there. He kept telling us that he lived in a place called The Villages. I said, well, what's the town? Where do you
The Villages.
The Villages. It took me a while to figure out what the heck it was, but no, it's a great retirement community. It really is. We enjoy it. It's my wife and I both play golf 4 or 5 times a week, and that's just a golf mecca. If you like golf, they got tons and tons of courses.
That is so awesome. You're getting out 4 or 5 times a week.
I could probably play every day, but my wife would probably shoot.
I love that.
Of course, she's worse than I am. She didn't start playing until she was 68, and now she's a golfaholic.
So now she's hooked?
She's hooked. She's a golfaholic. Yep. She'll play every day if I'll take her. But she has her own groups that she plays with. She's got 3 different groups, and she's really into the sewing and making quilts and doing a lot of stuff for the servicemen. And we got some great groups down there that make all kinds of stuff to help out the underprivileged people.
You know, we had Barry Larkin on the program, and Barry Larkin's trying to bring baseball to Orlando. We talked about there's 80 million people who visit here a year. It's incredible what Disney and Universal and everybody that comes here. How do you think baseball would do here in Orlando?
I think it'd do great. I mean, it's hard to believe how much we've been here 6 years now, and it's just seems like it's doubled in size, the whole state, not mention the villages has grown almost double. And there's just so many people coming here. It's a very outdoorsy type of area. You know, people are out walking and playing golf and doing stuff all the time. So I think baseball would do well here. Really would.
Yeah, it was when they started bringing all those numbers and how the economy's grown and all the people that come here. Because, you know, people come down here for 6-7 days. They won't do Disney every day. There's people who would go to games at night. It's kind of similar to what we're talking about with Las Vegas.
I think so. No, the greater area, as far as people live here, and or besides the visitors, this adds to the count. But I think you got to look at the dynamics of the people that live here, what they're doing. Are they outdoorsy people? Are they moving around a lot? And I think that's the core of the people that would come to games.
You know, when you think about what we're seeing here with all the front office people and everybody that's here. And to think that Charlie Finley built these World Series championship teams and taking the team from Kansas City to Oakland and amassing just this great talent. And he did that from Chicago, from a rotary phone, compared to what we see today. Does it really ever, I know he was crazy, and I know some of you guys, the feelings about Charlie Finley, but it pretty was pretty amazing what he was able to do compared to what we see today.
It really is. It's just, we had a lot of great scouts. Charlie had a huge network of people. I hate to even say this, but finally, just a few months ago, I finally read Herb Mickelson's book, Charlie O.
Yes.
After all these years, I've had it forever. I just finally read it. And it was a great book about Charlie, more than just the A's, and about his background and how we, had networked with people and all that stuff. And it was just fascinating reading about it. He put deals together. All the people that he had in his front office, managers, scouts. It's a who's who of baseball. It's amazing, really. You look back at those numbers over the years that Charlie owned those teams. He had some great people working for him.
Yeah, it's truly special. And, we're talking about the Dodgers, who've won 2 straight. They're looking to be the first team to win 3 in a row since the Yankees did it, late 90s, early 2000s. And, of course, you guys, 72, 73, 74. Do you ever think back and just wow, just us and the Yankees, the only 2 teams to have ever won 3 straight World Series?
Yeah, you got to be very lucky. We look at the back at those teams, and we really didn't have any major injuries during those 3 years. Reggie's injury going, during the playoffs in 72 set us back, but unfortunately we won. But those next 2 or 3 years, you look at our pitching. We had great pitching, good defense, and timely hitting. We were not, the Oakland Coliseum was not a hitter's ballpark. It was
not as big. It's cold.
Oh, man. Yeah. Back then it was wet. the dew coming through the lights would actually dim the lights at night. And you had to be old enough to remember those days. But, I had balls hit to me in left field in the grass, and they're spinning water. And by the time I went back and coached in the mid-'80s, I remember asking Rick Henderson that same question. What do you do with the wet balls that run you to me? He looked at me like I was from outer space. He goes, what balls rolling? Of course, they had started cutting the grass real short then, and it was a total different ballpark. But, things just change over time. And we were very fortunate, again, injury-wise, had a lot of breaks. I wish that, we could have kept Catfish and kept the team together. I really think we had a great chance to win 2 or 3 more, because really all of us were just in our late mid 20s through 74, and we had a young pitching staff still. When you have that great pitching, it really comes out that it's really, when you get down to playoffs or World Series, pitching is what wins you those.
Yeah, you think of it because we always talk about once you hit 31, 32, get older, none of you guys were even close to that.
No, we were all in our late 20s. In 74, I think I was 26, something like that. And so, most of the guys, like I said, were in the mid to late 20s. And again, you got to be fortunate enough to stay in one piece. I think that's what defines so many of these teams is, keep people healthy. And we were blessed those 3 years to keep most of our starting lineup and pitching in one piece.
Most guys don't get to play near home. You did. And a lot of family got to come and see you play. When you look back at that, just what a blessing. But, the World Series and the All-Star games and everything, but then to also have your family and being able to go to these games. I mean, what was that like for you?
It was such a blessing. When I signed right out of high school at 17, and I had a great scout named Don Prees that lived in Alameda, and he had been a former player. Then went into scouting when he retired, and he talked to me. Actually started following me when I was a sophomore in high school down in Modesto, and spent a lot of time with him. The fall, he would actually come down, pick me up, and take me up into the Bay Area, and they had a lot of games on the weekends, like 3 or 4 ball games on the weekend. Sort of the kids that had a chance to play they would get together and have games on the weekends, and so I got a lot of exposure in that area. And he told me, he said, I got actually offered quite a bit more money by the Yankees, who were my team. I was a big Yankee fan growing up because they were always on TV because CBS owned the Yankees.
A's were in Kansas City at the time.
Yeah, and we're in Kansas City. I didn't know anything about the A's. But anyway, he said, Finley bought the team. He's going to put a lot of money in. He's trying to build a winner. You got a great chance to get in there. And, which is what happened. I came out of the middle, I had to go to the Marine Corps Reserves like a lot of the guys did to stay out of the draft. And so I joined in 66. I joined the A's in Modesto. We had Reggie and Duncan and Fingers. We had a great ball club there. And so I played about 85 games there. Next year I go to spring training with the A's, and Alvin Dark's manager had a great spring. And he took me north. I was opening day left fielder, and I had barely played the outfield. And so, the ballparks looked like they're giant. And he was so far away. Me base first. And so it was a blessing. I really got, I went up and down quite a bit the next couple of years, but I did get that early shot, just like Prees told me. You're going to be in the big leagues in a hurry.
Yeah, 17 years old. I mean, what was it like being in the minor leagues back then at 17 years old?
I had never been away from home. I actually got hit by a pitch. A guy named Pat Jacquez, who actually ended up pitching with the White Sox, pitched for a high school called Stagg there in Central California, where I was in Modesto. And Cass, when I signed, sent me to Kansas City. And so I was there a couple of weeks till the doctor cleared me. And then I went to Whitfield, Virginia in, rookie ball. And that's the first time I'd ever been away from home. I'd never been anywhere. So that was a rude awakening to being on there. And then they sent me from there down to play in Daytona Beach. So I had to get on a bus and take a bus from Whitfield, Virginia down to Daytona Beach, Florida. And I finished the last 6 weeks there.
So here the kid from Modesto was hanging out at the beach playing minor league baseball.
Fortunately, we were in a house. A bunch of the guys had rented a house, and they had room for me. So I had a bed in there to sleep, and then we were only about a block and a half from the beach. So every day I'm going down to the beach, laying on the beach, and then playing ball at night. Like, God, this life's great. What else we got to do?
Well, the special stories about your group is how you guys really all grew up together.
Really did.
Not leagues, but then you grow up together in the big leagues, and then you guys get married, and then you guys start having children.
Yep.
It's amazing how young men, how you guys all grew up together. You guys were all so close. So it's not just that you guys won. It's like, and I've experienced that covering the reunions that we have with 72, 73, 74 and all of that. It's just like you guys were like brothers.
We really were. Like I said, if you look back at the minor league teams, like I said, Modesto, I think we had 10 or 12 guys in that team that went to the big leagues. And so that whole core of the team ball in the California League, which was high A back then, all went to Birmingham for double A ball. And Finley had a thing, I'm not sure why he did that, but he took us right from double A to the big leagues. Most of us never played triple A. I spent a few weeks in triple A in 68 and 69 before they called me up. Said they had to clear some, get guys moved around, because back then they had waivers where they could option you out so many times. And so I started out the first few weeks there, and then they called me up. And let's see, 19. Put my years together here. 67, 68. I'm trying to think. 67 was my first year in the big leagues. That's when I came up there, and like I said, we just sort of all started coming together, getting the same basic format of all those kids that all went to the A's and grew up, almost the same age.
Well, I got to tell you, we've done a lot of interviews over the years. It's nice that you didn't have to travel out west, and we finally came to you.
That's right.
We're not over Zoom. We finally came to you to do an interview.
I'll never forget playing in Modesto in '66 with that team. Mr. Finley came to Modesto actually to watch us play twice, and there were two different trips to different parts of the year, and it was actually because he was going to Oakland and negotiating with those guys in '66 about moving the team to Oakland. This was 1966, and then he came down to Modesto because they had so many of his babies that he had signed on that team and watched us play twice. And so I never forget that, Finley coming to Modesto and watching us play A-ball. And then,
and then striking the deal.
And then '68, we moved to Oakland, and we were ecstatic because again, we're less than an hour from home.
Yeah.
And all of our kids we grew up with, our family, everybody was so close, and it got a little hectic on the weekends trying to get tickets for everybody. That was the hard part. Back then, you could borrow each other's tickets.
Yeah.
So come in. Who's not using their tickets today? Hey,
yeah.
We pass them around.
Well, I tell you what, we got a lot of good young players on the club right now.
Really got a good young ball club. I know it's hard to the amount of money being paid today. Unfortunately, with the cost of everything, we had to let a few guys go. But they got a great nucleus of young. Watch them a few times the last couple of years, and they're all coming up together. And it wouldn't take too many add-ons to put that team in contention.
Well, enjoy the time. I know you got to go, and you're going to be doing this draft pick. But let me speak for all the A's fans. Every single time we get you, it's something really special. We always appreciate
We
it.
enjoy it. Thank you for having me. It's still very, like my wife said, it's better to be seen than viewed. So it's good to be still kicking.
Joe Rudi in the flesh. We got him right here. Enjoy your time. Thanks as always, and get us that number one pick.
I hope so.
But you know what, though? Nick Kurtz was the number 4 pick. So, you really, the number 1 pick sometimes can be a little overrated.
Yeah, you never know. But we've had some good number 1 picks over the years.
Rick Monday, it's still one of the great stories. Remember asking him, what was it like on draft day? He's like, I was down the line stretching, and a guy just ran down the line.
Yep.
Some media guy said, hey, you just were drafted number 1. I'm like, that's it? He's like, that's it.
Arizona State was good to us.
Yeah. Reggie Jackson. Yeah.
Bando.
Yeah. That Bando. Yeah. No doubt.
Can't forget those guys.
All right. Well, hit them straight. Have happy holidays, and we'll be talking to you next year.
Happy holidays. Thanks.
The great Joe Rudi right here on A's Cast Live. Hopefully going to give us the first round pick. That's going to do it for today's show, correct?
That is correct. Yes. Real quick before we go, I got notice from the great Vitello DiBartolo of A's Marketing. There's a new flash sale going on. I'll float it up here on the graphic right now.
Thank you, Joe.
You can get 4 lawn seats and an A's umbrella for $99. It's a flash sale for 2026 lawn seats. 4 lawn seats, an A's umbrella, $99. Athletics.com/lawn. I'll give you the full read. Give the gift of baseball this holiday season. For a limited time only, grab 4 lawn seats to select A's home games for just $99 and some exclusive A's umbrella with your purchase. Maximum of 12 tickets can be purchased. Visit athletics.com/lawn. Also, athletics.com/spring if you want to buy any spring training tickets for the 2026 spring training season in Mesa, Arizona. But yes, that's going to do it for today. Man, we went through a lot of people.
The car wash.
We had this afternoon, we had Torey Lovullo, manager of the Diamondbacks, Don Kelly, manager of the Pirates, Brian Kenny of MLB Network, the tremendous duo of Jim Duquette and Mike Ferrin of Power Alley on SiriusXM MLB Network Radio, the manager of the Giants, Tony Vitello, and Joe Rudi, A's Hall of Famer, 3-time World Series champion.
How many people we have on it?
We're like 20-something, 26, I think, now total for 2 days.
And what do we have tomorrow?
Our general manager, David Forrest, at 7 a.m. Pacific. We're going to have Katie Wu, who's now the Dodgers beat writer for The Athletic.
Okay.
We're going to have Jesus Cano, Baseball America. He can talk about the draft and the Rule 5 draft, which is tomorrow. We'll be off the air, but he can do that. And then we're hoping to get our friend Eduardo Perez. He's on the air right now, right next to us. So, and then we'll see what else we can get. I'm efforting Matty V as well.
We got to get. So John Morosi was just there too, and I wanted to say hi to him, but we were doing an interview. We need to get our guy JP, John Morosi.
So 26. I think last year we had 30. We're gonna blow by that this year.
Going to blow by that. All right, that's going to do it for day 3 of the winter meetings here in Orlando. Remember those lawn seats? They come with an umbrella.
Yeah, $99. 4 lawn seats and an umbrella. $99. Athletics.com.
I need to get one of these umbrellas.
That looks nice here. I'll pull it up again. I'll then have the umbrella on there. But yeah, it's not on the website either. But sure, it's an umbrella. It'll look good.
It'll look money. All right, that'll do it for day 3 from the winter meetings. We'll be back tomorrow at 7. We're back at 7 a.m.
7 a.m. Yeah.
Okay, we'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. I hope you enjoyed all the coverage, all the A's coverage, all the baseball coverage. One more day. We'll see you tomorrow from here in Orlando.
The time is now. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun. Spring training is back as the Athletics get ready for the 2026 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 22nd, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Dodgers, Giants, Cubs, Padres, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring. This has been a presentation of The Athletic.